Hello, welcome everyone to the Sunday Speedrunner Spotlight episode 40. Large number. I feel like I gotta say that every time now. Uh, so, speaking
40
of,
is pretty big.
it
That's a
is,
lot.
yeah, it's a lot of episodes. We're almost
I
to
don't
a full
know.
year.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but I was trying to do some like speedrunner interviews and stuff like back in 2017. I think I only made it to like 9 or something like that. So
I
40 is a
remember
lot.
seeing them. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
you got Salt, some Mario 1 folks. I remember.
Yeah, I did like I did I did a couple people and normally the episodes were like, an hour or so. And then I did Trihex and was like, I swear to God, it was like 5 hours.
That's
Yeah, that
how
guy,
it
he can
goes.
talk.
Yeah, the longer you've been around, the more stories you gotta tell. So
True.
we'll see how long this one goes because you've been around quite some time to yourself.
I have been around for a long time. That is true.
So on that topic, when did you start?
When did I start speedrunning?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. It was definitely in high school. I stumbled on a website called Metroid 2002, and I had just like beat through Metroid Prime, and like I don't know, I thought that game was great. I had a lot of fun, a lot of good memories with that game. And that's kind of where it starts, right? And uh, so I went on Metroid 2002, and I noticed the scan dash and like getting space jump early and stuff, and I just had to do it. I had to do it because it was just like it was so wrong. You know what I mean? Like speedrunners have always been interested in doing like a sequence break or things out of order or anything that allows you to go kind of faster or do like weird tricks. And when I saw that, I was like, oh my god, you can get space jump early, and that kind of just blossomed into more. I always liked Mario 64, so I checked out Mario 64 when I was high school, and the 16 star was like 24 minutes or something weird like that, or 27, and I didn't even know that existed in the BLJs, and yeah, that's kind of where it started. So that was around 2000 and I'll say 2006 or 2007.
Yeah. So almost 20 years. Getting
Yeah,
close.
yeah, very long time.
Yeah. So was a Speed Demo's archive out by then?
Yes, that helped me stumble upon. So Speed Demo's archive was linked up with Metroid 2002. They were like
Mm. Okay.
coincided with each other. And from Metroid 2002, I went to Speed Demo's archive. And then through Speed Demo's archive, it just introduced me to a whole bunch of games that I didn't have in like my childhood and stuff like that. Like I knew about Metroid Prime, but I never played the original Metroid or Super Metroid. But on Metroid 2002, I'm watching all these Metroid speedruns, and I was like, oh, well, let's check out the first one. And then, the Wii came out, and I don't remember exactly when. I just know I had it near the end of high school or something. When did the Wii come out? 2006, 2007,
I think
2000,
2006. That's what my brain is
2006 or
telling me
so.
is right.
But yeah, I'd go on the virtual console, and I was like, all right, well, I watched the speedrun of Metroid, or lack thereof. They weren't that good back then. They were still good, but not as how they are now. And I'd get all the games on the virtual console, and then I'd start. That's kind of where it started off. I started off speedrunning more so Metroids and Mega Mans before any kind of Mario's.
Mm. And those were like
Yeah.
NES games on the Wii VC.
Yeah, NES games and Super Nintendo games like Super Metroid and stuff like that. And yeah, I had always just assumed, I just never touched Mario ever because I just naturally assumed, like, because of how popular they were, that they were all just so good at that point, but they weren't. They weren't as good. They were as good as the knowledge, maybe, but there was just so much more to learn.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, those were always the most popular ones. So even back then, you'd assume, oh, these must be perfected, but
Right.
they never are.
No, right. I mean, one of them, out of all the Marios, one of them is almost perfected.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
And we'll see about that because there's still a lot to go with that, even in current day.
Right, Bowser's right, 8-4, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Like
essentially, there's no time left to say before 8-4, right? That's
yeah,
where we've
but
gotten. That's
the time save in A4 is like more ludicrous than anything else in a like
mhm.
run, at least.
Can you imagine? Oh man, like you're locked into the frame until 8-4. Like you cannot lose the frame rule until 8-4, else it's like not possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or is there enough time save in 8-4?
So funnily enough, uh the answer is like no, but technically if you didn't have one frame rule, so you're one frame rule behind. If you tied the TAS in 8.4, you could get world record by one frame. But that won't happen, so
Oh my god. So yeah, and how many frames is one frame rule?
21.
21 frames. So there's technically 22 frames potential save, or not potential, but max
Mm-hmm.
save.
The TAS is 22 frames faster than world record.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, so that's Mario 1 for you.
Right. And I mean, I was never even pulled in by Mario 1, even when I was like a teenager and stuff, because I fell off video games for a while. I mean, I grew up with a NES, Mario 3, Mario 1, stuff like that, other random games. I think I had like Snow Bros and what's that Trivial Pursuit like one? Anticipation. I had that
Oh
one,
yeah,
like
yeah.
Family Game. I had Super C. We had Battletoads. Hated that game, but it's okay. And then we went to Sega, right? It went right to Sega. So I was super into Mortal Kombat. I was super into Street Fighter. I had another game called like Vector Man. That one was really cool. Um, yeah, and then a couple other games. Never had a Super Nintendo, and then went right to like Nintendo 64 and GameCube after that. So I never really like hung around the old Mario's and stuff for too long. Even Mario 3, I just know I loved Mario 3 when I was a little kid. I thought it was like the greatest game ever. And then I never played it again for like 10 years until the Wii VC came out. That's when I got it again.
Hmm. Yeah, it was a good way of like rediscovering those old games because if you don't take care of those old systems, they're gonna crap out on you or something. So,
Right. I mean, we moved so much when I was a kid. I didn't even have my original.
hmm.
I didn't even have. Yeah, my parents divorced actually. I stayed with my mom and my dad took the NES, so I just had the Sega.
Mm.
I never
Yeah,
had all those old games.
it's interesting to have Nintendo, then Sega, then just Nintendo again forever. But I guess Sega did kind of fall off after that.
Yeah, right. I had one friend who had like the what was the one right after Sega? Was the Sega Saturn or Sega
Sa-
CD or
Saturn was the next like released
Saturn and then
console after Genesis.
right, and then it was Dreamcast after that, right?
Yeah.
Sega Dreamcast, yeah. Yeah, I never really was interested in those. And I never had a PlayStation either. I had friends who had PlayStations and stuff. I don't know why. I had like a phobia for PlayStation because I really liked platformer and Nintendo games. So like I disliked PlayStation because they were a lot more like I really don't know how to describe it, but it's like how you picture like Metal Gear Solid like games and stuff, and I'm like, no, that's not Mario, that's not platforming, like that's too intuitive, like I like games for being like silly and fun and platforming, but
Hmm. Yeah, PlayStation definitely started trying to be more like realistic and cared more about graphics and what you
right,
could do than like what Nintendo was doing. Like,
right, and I have always liked the controls more than the graphics
mhm.
overall, always.
Yeah, I mean, gameplay is always what should be the most like developed part of a game, I think.
Right. I mean, I do know some people who are always like, "Oh my god, do you see those graphics? It's like watching a movie." And it's like, "Why don't you just watch a movie, okay? Why don't you just watch a movie?"
You saying
And then you
that
play the
reminds
game and
me.
it's all go ahead.
Your what you said right there reminded me of the like old Zelda 1 commercial where the guy's like, "Whoa, nice graphics," and it's Zelda 1.
Right, right.
Those are the
Hey,
real graphics.
hey, Zelda 1 was amazing, okay?
Yeah, I'm not saying it wasn't.
But those graphics, ooh, baby. Have you seen people create like the Unreal Engine version of Zelda 1
I
and then
hate
there's
those
like the
videos.
The
I
there's the
hate them.
virtual reality Zelda 1 too, like, that's pretty interesting
I,
because
I
it's like
I think that one's cool.
yeah, you're, like, put in the world and it's, like, all 3D and you can, like,
Hmm.
travel and actually physically go like, that's pretty cool.
That's cool, but I hate the like Unreal Engine stuff. Like,
I only like the OOT Unreal Engine, that one just looks crazy good.
yeah, it just this is what Mario could be. Nintendo hire this man, and it's like this looks like not like fun. I
Right,
don't
yeah, it
know.
looks like I mean, if I were stuck on an island and I had one choice of a OOT port, I would always pick just the original
Hmm.
Ocarina of Time. I mean, it's just the best.
Exactly. But anyway, getting back to like speedrunning stuff. Um, so, oh yeah, I was just reminded about the relay coming up next week.
Yeah, with summoning salt, we have the relay race. I think I'm team pecan. How do you
Yeah,
say it? Pecan or pecan?
I say pecan
Pecan.
myself, but yeah, I'm on pumpkin. My fellow teammates posting his pie emote in preparation.
Oh,
So you see,
so
got that
we're
coming up.
against each other.
Seems that way.
Rivals coming in for an interview. Don't get any. You're not gonna get any information. You're trying to get the backstories of my speedrun to get the advantage.
I don't. I have to play before your game, so the only one that can benefit is you here.
True.
So,
Go down that pit. There is a secret.
I'll keep
That
that
was
in
always
mind.
my yeah. Mario 1's version of two player versus Mario 3. That's such a silly concept.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's literally just past the controller. Like you don't even need to use the second controller. Even Mario 3 you don't have to technically. Like you're Oh no, it has the mini game. So never mind, it's got that. But yeah, Mario
Well, no,
1
Mario 1 switches between every level. Or sorry, Mario 3 switches between every level, but
yeah.
Mario 1 is like if the first player just goes and beats the game without dying, then
Mhm.
nobody else plays.
Yeah, that's true. I just meant like yeah, for Mario 1 especially, you could just use one controller. I don't know why they have the you have to use the player 2 port. Like you're not playing at the same time ever. It's just
Wait, does
funny.
that actually work when you're Luigi in Mario 1? You can just still use one player?
No, I'm saying why can't you? Because of how you never play the game at
Oh,
the same
yeah.
time. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, that's
I'm just
true.
saying like old two-player stuff is silly that way. Mario
Yeah,
3 did
good
it
point.
pretty well, especially with the battle mini games. That's a really cool concept.
And that intros into speedrunning too, because I mean, you can do co-op speedruns, you can
Hmm.
do like two-player, one controller speedruns, which seem to be, coming in popularity, right? GDQ is doing a lot of like two-player, one controllers and stuff, or at least they have been in the past few years.
Hmm.
Which Yeah, GDQ was one of the biggest turning points I'd say in my speedrunning career after doing so much in speedrunning. The Speed Demos archive with Metroid 2002, and then it turns into like GDQ. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, that started in 2010. So you had a few years to like dip your toes into the speedrunning waters.
Right. When I discovered Speed Demos archive, that was I was like, my goal in life is to get a speed run on the internet. And I didn't know what game I could do it because I'd keep playing other games and I couldn't keep up with some people. And then yeah, like I remember I was speedrunning Super Metroid, Mega Man 2, 3, and 4. I like those. Those were a lot of fun. I was speedrunning Super Contra and then Metroid Prime 2 and stuff like that. And you just can't, I couldn't keep up with
Hmm.
some people.
Yeah, so back then you had to like mail in a tape, right?
Yep.
Do you
Well, I'm sure some people did other ways, like converted to like maybe a DVD uploaded or something weird like that.
Mhm.
But I didn't have much money and I didn't really have a good PC or the know-how to do any of that. So yeah, I sent in a VHS tape. I only sent in one ever, and it was of Mario 3. I never
Mm.
sent in any from any other game.
Yeah,
As
so do you remember that first tape? Like what category, what the time was and everything?
Oh yeah, it was any percent warpless, and the time I know was under an hour, but I think it was like 58 minutes or something for warpless.
Mm.
And I sent that in for verification. And for anyone watching at home on YouTube and Twitch like that, Twitch and stuff, it's like the practicing back then was so much harder. The concept of how to practice wasn't fully established yet. I don't think EverDrives were really out in 2010 or 11,
Oh
not
no,
quite.
not at all.
And nobody really wanted to use emulator because again, you'd have to have a PC, you'd have to have a good controller or use keyboard. Not many people wanted to use the keyboard.
Yeah.
So practicing was like not much of a thing. Like I remember in Mario 3 when I first started my era of practicing, it was like go to every mushroom house, get as many items as I could, and then go to the world I wanted to practice a level, die before I beat it because I wouldn't be able to do it again. I'd have to game over. And then just keep doing that. And if I only got like 4 fire flowers out of all the mushroom houses I did, I only got to try what I wanted to try with fire flower 4 times. It's like, what a nightmare.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
That's just hell.
Right. Luckily, I learned how to do the break your Wii Virtual Console.
Mm,
I can't remember what that was called. I did it with a copy of Smash Brothers Brawl,
that
and
one. Yeah.
yeah, that allowed me to download like Project 64 and an NES emulator and stuff like that. And then I was finally able to get save states and stuff. So, but that wasn't until about 2014 or so.
Yeah, I letter bombed my Wii in 2010 to do custom tracks in Mario Kart Wii. I remember
That's
that
pretty cool.
specifically. And I have tried like the NES emulator. I swear like the input lag's pretty bad though, if I'm remembering right. Like Wii VC is pretty good. It's only like 1 frame. But I thought the like emulators they have are pretty bad for that.
Yeah, I don't know. I used it for practice, but I was always when I was speedrunning, I was always bumping around like flat screens and CRTs and stuff. So whatever was in my way with input delay, I just like fought through it until I got comfortable. It was mainly more so for like the knowledge of like where am I jumping, where am I not jumping, and yeah, speedrunning was hard back then for someone like me. I just didn't really know how to do a lot of stuff tech savvy wise. I was also like working, so I didn't really go full ham into speedrunning. Like it was like a back thing, but also a passion. So like I always thought about it and wanted to do it, but
hmm
hard.
Yeah, but you got that tape in there. So that tape you sent in, I am assuming that was like Wii VC, Mario 3, and maybe like even on a flat screen. So like the input lag might have been pretty awful.
That first one was yes. That first one was VC, VHS sent in. I was playing on an LG flat screen. It was maybe 20. No, it's probably like 23 inches. Wasn't that big, and my run got rejected.
Mm, classic.
Right, so I waited like 3 weeks for it to be sent in. I paid for it to get sent in. They got it. They watched it. They reviewed it, and that always because like the way Speed Demo's archive worked is that they'd archive that they have a run ready to be like verified, and I used to love watching that list because when your run like kind of disappeared, you know that they were going to start looking at it, and they had like the countdown list. Do you remember that at all? Were you a part of SDA back
Oh
then?
no, I joined in 2017, so I'm super new in
Oh,
the grand scheme of things,
okay.
at least.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, back then it was like runs they had a tab for runs up for verification and people could do it. It was all just like open community too. So like the people verifying my Mario 3 run knew little to nothing about Mario 3. They just knew Mario 3 enough that they liked it enough that they wanted to watch it and verify it. And I'm not saying that that had anything to do as a contributing factor for it not getting accepted, but um, Speed Demo's Archive tried to keep up like some kind of I don't know. I don't think persona is the
Quality.
right word, but quality. Yeah, quality's great. And my run was they saw how I did some levels and they were like, "Holy crap, this is good." And then they saw the mistakes and they were like, "This is really ugly, but he's really good. So we're gonna reject it." And then essentially they told me they thought that I could do better. They were like, "We know you could do better." I was pretty upset about that because I mean, at first, like I said before, my main goal was to get a run on Speed Demo's Archive, and I didn't get a run, even though I submitted. But I think I was more so upset. It took a shot at my confidence because it was the world record at the time. It doesn't matter how ugly it was or not. It was the fastest warpless run, so I thought it was going to get accepted regardless. And then it didn't.
Did they
But
even
it
have
did
like
push me.
warpless like
No.
documented then? So you like
I
started
think
that category almost.
essentially, yeah. I saw Freddie Anderson do a warpless run in 2010 for the first classic games done quick
Mm.
in Mike's basement, but I'm pretty sure I either submitted before that and it got rejected, and then after that, and then it finally got accepted, and then it was the first warpless run on Speed Demo's Archive.
hmm So yeah, got that improvement in there, and then so it was like right 2010-ish era was like okay, now we can accept it.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, I mean, I did take off like 2 minutes or something, It was like my official first submitted run from them was like a 57:55 or something like that. So it was
Mm.
like almost 2 minutes or so. I mean, I kept going. I didn't let it deter me, which is good. I mean, I could have let it get to me and bug me and stuff like that, but I really wanted to get a run on that
Mm.
site.
You accomplished that goal.
Yeah,
There it was.
it was really cool to get something on there.
So that was your first like documented speedrun on the internet.
On the internet, yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. I did 100% run before I started doing Warpless, and none of those were really documented. I had my own VHS tapes recording, but other than that, I couldn't submit them or couldn't put them online. And
Mm-hmm.
then, yeah, GDQ transitioned from doing tapes into like torrenting
Hmm.
my runs to them. So I had to get off the VHS system. Not quite though. I went from a VHS system to a VHS DVD dubbing system, and that was another nightmare because the quality on DVD was better and I could just record to a DVD. However, being on the DVD mode on the VHS created more input delay. I
Mm.
don't know why, it just did. So I had to play on the VHS and then dub from VHS to DVD, then put it on my PC and torrent to GDQ the run. And then
Mm.
that's how they were doing it for a while.
Do you mean SDA when you say this?
Why? What did I say?
GDQ.
Oh my god, yes, SDA.
Okay.
Sorry, for the last 5 minutes, everyone watching at home, I meant Speed Demos Archive. I mean, we're talking like kind of pre
Yeah.
GDQ. They've done like one GDQ. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
they're kind of the same thing.
yeah. They were like early GDQ was like SDA. That was
Pretty
like
much.
what they were. Like like their events and stuff would be uploaded to like SDA before
Right.
like they
So
got to YouTube and everything.
yeah, before they called it games done quick, like before they called it AGDQ and SGDQ, it was always just like, Speed Demos Archives introduces classic games done quick,
Mm-hmm.
and then it'll SDA summer games done quick. So it's
Mm-hmm.
and then eventually it became more modern and more popular and much bigger. It took like 2 years. It was like nothing at the first little bit. I mean, it was quite a bit because everyone on SDA were tuning in. It's like I don't think SDA or GDQ has ever had anything less than like 100 to 200 viewers on Twitch, even in the gully days where like nobody's watching Twitch or Justin TV. And I think it's because they were able to pull all their viewers from SDA, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was a very popular site. That was the go-to site, man.
Yeah. That was the place because no one liked Twin Galaxies, so they made their own
Right,
thing.
and Toon Galaxy's rules were weird and they were all based on like scores and stuff. I used to remember like even in the early days of 2011, like not going to sleep at night because SDA hasn't updated their front page with new runs in like a week and I'm like it's coming soon. So I would just stay up all night just refreshing. And some nights, man, I hit the gold mine. It was like 3 in the morning, I'm refreshing and boom, brand new update, all these new speed runs.
Sounds fun, honestly.
It was.
It's
It used to be really, really fun and exciting back then. It was a big surprise when you get a front page update on Speed Demos Archive of new runs. I remember one time Metroid Prime 3 was up there, and I was like, I lost my mind. I like went and woke up my roommate and bugged him. It was like 3 in the morning. I was like, Metroid Prime, Metroid Prime. It was like Christmas.
that's
I was
funny.
in my 20s as well, so
Yeah, makes sense. But yeah, and people had to use like chat clients and everything just to communicate. I don't even think
yeah.
Skype was around yet. Well, I don't know like when like speedruns live really took off in the like
That was about
recent years.
2014 and 15,
Okay.
I'd say.
So this is even still pre everything I would know, so it's interesting. Um so did you just submit like the Mario 3 runs whenever you would make improvements to SDA, or when was like the next big speedrunning step?
Yeah, honestly, it was just kind of like this whole speedrunning was just kind of numb on my end because there was no career or job behind it. So it was only when I had time in between like work and stuff. But I would allocate a lot more time to speedrunning than I would work. I cared more about gaming.
Mhm.
So yeah, I would submit that first run, and then yeah, anytime I made an improvement, I don't know what it was, but like I just didn't stop because I always knew that I could just get better and better. That's every mistake I made, it was a mistake that it was like I didn't have to make that mistake. So I'd go back and try again, and I would just casually take the time down, right? I'd move to the NES, which was free time save as well. I mean, when I switched there, that was another free kind of like PB, and then um, I should always mention to anyone who doesn't know, Mario 3 has a lot of RNG. So sometimes it's not even as the mistakes I made. Sometimes it was me just trying to get better RNG. Thinking that there was an end game. I really thought in my first few years of speedrunning Mario 3 that there was an end game, but there wasn't. There still hasn't been.
There
It's
never
like never
is.
ends.
No,
Right. There never is.
that's how it
So there
goes.
was yeah, so there was always that going through my mind, you know. I'd get a really good run going, but I get pulled in by two hands and I PB by 5 seconds. And it's like, okay, well now I have to do another really good run, but let's not get pulled in by the hands. But I have to wait 55 minutes before I get there every time. And some days I wouldn't even get to the hands. So it's just a long process. And yeah, the practicing tools we have now, it's like to put it in context for a lot of you at home, what took me about 6 years to achieve, somebody could probably achieve within 1 year with the practice tools that we have now. A
Yeah,
little
I
bit of
mean,
extra dedication on weekends or whatever, save states and ever drives. Yeah.
mhm. Yeah, that's how it goes. Once you have like modern practice tools, it's over. It opens the door for so many people to learn so quickly, and it's really
Right.
great that that exists. But
Right.
yeah, but you can't like forget like how impressive it was to do it with like the limited knowledge and tools you had back then.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And there's nothing it's a tough pill to swallow, but right now there's nothing left to learn or discover in Mario 3. I'm sure there's something, let's face it, right? But to our knowledge of the entire community, everyone involved in Mario 3, there's nothing left to learn. So what you see is what you have to learn, and then that's it.
Mhm.
Back then, it was more so what you see is what we know and can do, and that's it. I mean, there might be something faster. You're gonna have to keep trying,
Mhm.
and evidently, there was tons more to learn.
Yeah. I'm honestly impressed that for a long time you played on like VBC flat screen. That's so much input lag. So much
Hmm. Yeah,
in
you get
total.
over it. You really do get used to it because I've gotten a world record. Okay, so I've gotten a world record in Mario 3 on a Wii VC with a flat screen, on NES with a flat screen, NES with a CRT, and a computer monitor emulator.
Well, there you go.
On all three. It just takes time, right? Dude, I'm not even bragging because I made it so hard for myself. I did not have to do it that way. I wasted so much time and it did not have to be like that. Um,
Hmm.
but given enough time, you do get used to it, I'd say.
Yeah, but again, also like VVC has a slower frame rate by a substantial amount, especially compared to
Hmm.
like Switch or something. So, I mean, it's when it comes to like a warpless, like that's a lot of seconds of free time save you're just losing because of that.
Right. I think if you min max everything, it's like 15 to 20 seconds time loss. And then like in 100%, it's like 40 something,
Jeez. Yeah,
which is a lot. That is a lot.
for sure. So, it's good that we're able to get over that over time. Yeah,
Yeah, I
once you
agree.
switch to NES, like then it's like okay, at least now you're playing optimally in terms of speed.
Yes, and what was weird is like my only reason why I never switched to NES is because my memories as a kid is that the NES is jank and it crashes and freezes all the time. But it doesn't actually. It's just when we were kids, we probably didn't take care of our systems too much, so games never worked. It was always lag and all this weird stuff. But NES is an incredibly reliable console. Like it is insane how reliable that console is. When you have a good 72 pin connector, you keep it clean. Um, yeah, but I never wanted to play on NES because I was afraid my speedruns I'd lose it because it'd crash or
Mhm.
freeze. So I never took the chance.
Yeah. It's funny you bring that up because my childhood console like stopped working forever ago. Like it would do the flashing red light. You couldn't do anything. and we stored it away for like over a decade. And then when I picked up speedrunning and wanted to play on console, I just jiggled some stuff around and it worked again. It was never actually broken, but you just assume,
Right.
oh, I guess it's broken, rip. But no, it wasn't. It still
That's
works.
kind of what I thought too. Yeah, like every game I put in, it never worked. It always flashed, gray screen. And I was like, this console sucks. It's unreliable. And then when we got older, you play on a 64 and you could beat the crap out of that thing, and every cartridge worked all the time. Never froze, nothing. You could do cartridge tilting. You know, the games would be so like weird. And yeah, it didn't make the NES look so good. But man, that's a good console.
Yeah, as long as you take care of it, it will work. Especially their like
Mm.
revisions. Like I have an AV Famicom now, and I don't know how I could possibly break that thing.
Do you have a NES Mini?
No,
No, neither do I.
is that the like revision based on the AV Famicom, but it's still like an American NES, the top loader.
Yeah, yeah, it was like the little thing that they released like 3 years ago. They did one for Super Nintendo. Sega has one little Sega, the little
Oh,
minis,
you're
right?
talking about like the like the officially Nintendo released small console. Okay,
Yep, yep,
I forgot
yeah.
about those
Is
existing
that what it?
actually.
Oh, okay. Is that what it's called? The NES Mini, I think, right?
Maybe
Yeah.
I completely forgot, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, they modeled it after the front loader.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a really small thing, and then like it's just for show. It's like a plug and play kind of thing, I think. But yeah, I mean that's a good option too. But I know you have to hack it if you want to have like more games on it. And oh yeah, NES Classic
That's what
is
it's
what it is.
called. The NES Classic. That's right.
Yeah, I completely forgot. But
And
yeah,
yeah, it came with what, like 18 games, or it was like the classics, and then you could break it to upload more, right? It's just a
yeah,
ROMs, I'm assuming.
yeah. And I think it was for like more modern TVs. I think I tried one once, and I was like, God, this input lag is not fantastic. But yeah, and its frame rate
Yeah,
is worse as well.
right. And also what's interesting is because it's HDMI, right?
I
And
think so.
if you mod an NES, normally everyone has RGB, right?
Hmm.
Because that's like the best way. But if you have an NES that has HDMI, the HDMI actually runs slower, which is weird.
I see. Yeah,
That's why
I
nobody
have.
does HDMI NESs.
Yeah, I have RGB. I wouldn't trust that kind of thing. But yeah, that's funny. I didn't actually know HDMI would do that.
I know that because Haxer has one, and it just
Mm,
like he doesn't use it.
makes
Um,
sense. Yeah, that's unfortunate that that works out
right,
that
right. Can you
way.
imagine? Yeah, paying for it and be like, well, why wouldn't I get HDMI? I can eliminate the upscaler. Nope. Can't avoid that $500 retro tank. Good luck. Are they on
Yeah,
sale? Do you think? Do you think they cost less?
the HDMI mods.
No, the retro tank. What do you use to
Oh,
upscale?
I don't upscale. I just have component cables and plug them in that way.
I Oh, do you split between a CRT and
Yeah,
your cap?
in my
What?
capture
Whoa,
card.
what capture? Oh, that's right. What capture card do you use?
I have a StarTech, the USB 3 HD capture card.
Oh, I don't
Yeah.
even know what that is.
Oh, well, it's like a one in all box. So you can do composite S video component and HDMI all in like one box. It's kind of nice.
Very cool. You see, this is why we do these interviews. We learn a lot about each other, and we have so much to teach. Yeah, I didn't even know. I went from a Dazzle. That's how I
Mm,
used to stream my original speed runs back in like 2013, 14. Dazzle was like $40 at Best Buy. It was really cool. Kind of jank. You couldn't really modify anything. Like you plug and play, and like that's really whatever signal it's sending out. That's really all you could do. And then there was a program we used to use called Amarek.
Amarek. I still use it.
A-
Yeah.
yeah, Amarek. Okay, yeah. And then that would allow you to like crisp it up a little bit and kind of make it look a little more pretty, right?
Hmm. Yep.
And
That's
then
why I still
from
use it.
there, right? Yeah. I mean, it also has this new rewind feature too that I see Mario 64 runners use, right?
Oh, is that it? That might be like there's like some live version. Like I've never used that. I'm not sure what it is, but I don't know if that's an Amharic thing or not. I know what you're
I,
talking about. I've seen
I
that.
swear, yeah, I've seen Liam use it all the time. I swear it's an Amarek thing because he
It
also
might
uses
be.
Amarek.
I'd have to ask a Mario 64 expert. I don't know about that personally, but yeah, I've definitely
Right.
seen
And
that.
this is all very important to like the upgrowth of the speedrunning career because quality somehow became such a big deal for bigger streamers with people watching and stuff like that. Because I went from, well, hold on. The first capture card I ever started with in like 2012, like one of my first Mario 3 streams or whatever, was it was before a Dazzle. Do you remember what it was? It was Easy Cap. That's right. It was
Mm,
an Easy Cap. That's what it was called. It was a USB kind of stick with the audio video cords on the other side. But there was two different kinds. There was like a knockoff one from Japan that was like the letter E and the letter Z, EZ cap, and then there was the official one that was like the word easy, EASY cap. And I had
interesting.
the knockoff one and it was just awful. It was
That's
awful.
funny.
It took out too many resources and my computer would freeze and stuff. So then I got the Dazzle, which was mainly used for like video recorders and stuff, not streaming, but it ended up working. But
Mhm.
that was a nightmare because I had to learn about like splitters and how to split all that crap. And then I could never get it work properly. And then the GB USB 2 came out.
Mhm.
And that was like a gold mine. Everyone, people still use that one.
Oh yeah, that's everywhere. That's super easy
Yeah.
to like take with you as well if you're traveling. Like that's how a lot of people like record some stuff at like GDQ practice rooms and stuff. Super easy hookup. But yeah, I actually started capturing with a Dazzle too. I
Oh,
probably still have
cool.
it somewhere.
Did you have the white one or the black one?
White one.
White one, right? I
It's
think the
funny.
black one had higher frame rate or some weird like that.
Really interesting.
I don't know. I know there's two different models, and I think the black one was more. Maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking of something else.
I know it was DVC 100. I don't know if that means anything, but that's just what it was called.
I'm sad that I know what that means. Like I don't know what that means. I just know when you say that, I'm like, oh, I know he's talking about the Dazzle.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's funny because the only reason I have it is because I started playing an emulator and my input lag was really bad. And when I went to my first GDQ, which was HGDQ 2018, um, Cosmic tried my setup and he was like, "Yeah, you can't play like this," and then gave me his old Dazzle and was like, "Switch to console, please." And that's why I switched to console.
Good move. That I
Yeah.
definitely would have said the same thing. Yeah, don't.
Yeah, man.
He was probably like, "Damn, you're pretty good for this crusty setup." Hey, yeah, you got to get console. Get in
I
here.
switched to console and everything became so much easier for
Right.
me.
How long did it take you to switch to console? Was it like when you got home, were you like kind of embarrassed? You're like, because at first you were like, yeah, I'm going to show these big guys that I can play some games. It's going to be great. And then the first thing they do is like rip on your setup.
Well, they didn't like rip on it, but
Of
I
course
you
not. Yeah.
yeah, that week I just spent in the practice room and I got to play consoles, like actually try speedrunning on consoles for the first time and I was like, wow, this is so much easier for me. It all
Nice.
makes
Yeah.
sense now. And yeah, I don't think I think once I got back I switched immediately and like it was just so much easier to play at that point. I improved so much more quickly that way.
Yeah. It was probably like, I can't play on my setup until I get another setup.
Hmm.
That's better,
But yeah,
anyways. Like, you probably didn't even reset up your crap. You were just like, I'm just
yeah.
going to go home and get ready for console. But then you walk into like all these problems with the console too, right? Like, it's not as easy as just getting a console and then
Oh,
it
it
just
took
like works.
forever to figure out.
Right. There's always like, is this a video splitter? Well, I don't know. Is it? It's not. It's an audio splitter, but you can't tell. And then it's like you finally get everything going, and then the video's like not cropped properly, and you change one thing, then the video feed stops working for some reason. It's always just weird stuff. That I mean, at least those are the problems I had.
Uh, oh yeah, it was a pain, but yeah, I spent like 10 months playing on emulator or something. It was quite a decent amount of time, but one glitch I remember specifically, like the first time setting up the Dazzle, was like this blaring audio glitch that was like deafeningly loud. Ugh, words are
Hmm.
hard, but
Definitely, yeah, that
yeah,
is actually hard because you want to say definitely, but you say yeah.
yeah, yeah. It, English language is fun, but yeah, I still don't know what caused that glitch, but I mean, it was one of the worst sounds I've ever heard in my life, and I was like, classic Dazzle moment, I guess.
Classic streaming. Mine was always video, never audio.
Mm.
Or I'd have one without the other. Always. It always irritated me so much because I'd watch streamers and be like, why is it so easy for you? What am I missing? And it was just like some weird thing, a driver or something.
I'm still learning new things about like improving stream quality. It never that's another thing that never ends. You're never like satisfied with your stream quality. At least I'm not.
Dude, yeah, it was like 2 days ago. I swapped out a monitor with another monitor in my PC setup, and my primary monitor that I didn't even touch, I didn't do anything, just stopped working.
Mm.
It just refused. So I had to unplug all my other monitors, turn off the computer, replug in the main monitor, turn on the computer. So it was the only it just never ends.
No. Yeah. And I keep
Never
trying to find
ends.
ways to like improve how the quality of the game looks, even though I don't have any upscalers. Like that would be like the answer, but I don't really care that much. It's weird.
Well, you make up a very interesting point because I say this to my community and my chat all the time. Like, while I'm streaming, all the hard work I put into the quality of the game is literally just for them because I'm still watching on a crusty ass
Mm-hmm.
CRT. It's just I get no good quality here. So yeah, I mean, me personally, I don't really mind. I like the rusticness of the CRT. I
Mm-hmm.
like it. The crusty pixels everywhere.
Yeah, I have a CRT as well, but it is 27 inches and accepts components, so it looks like as good as it can on a CRT, I'd say. Minus like the
Is it
warping on
like
the edges.
right, right? I think mine just has like 3 pixels cut off on the top of the screen, and that's about it.
Mm. Yeah.
Other than that, it's really, really good. And mine's like mine's pretty small, so I like it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Have you
mine's
seen my
100
stream setup
pounds.
before?
I've seen like the overhead camera you've used.
Yeah, yeah. I had a cam in the corner and shows all the like consoles and
Hmm.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fairly small, but that's all you need. So
Hmm.
yeah, mine's I relate mine to the ones they have at like the GDQ practice room, like the giant Trinitrons that are flat screen. That's essentially what I have.
Yeah, GDQ though is no longer. They don't really do
Yeah, they don't really do that anymore.
any
They've switched
CRTs or
to
anything. They're all
the
yeah.
ViewSonic monitors with RetroTinks for the most part. They still have a
You
few
should definitely get a
CRTs.
retro tank though. That's I mean, well, you're not upscaling your output to HDMI, so I guess you really don't need it
Mm-hmm.
because you're not using it. Well, you could with your box though, right?
Yeah, the box does HDMI. Hmm. I
Yeah.
never thought about it that way.
Yeah. I
Because
mean, for
yeah,
the
then
viewers, I guess.
yeah, because wow, you're bringing up a great idea for me here because yeah, I could still use my CRT setup and then just split it through HDMI and yeah, because huh.
Yeah, if you
I
double
need to
split it.
consider I need to consider this option now.
Yeah. Luckily for me, I have somebody local in my area that I know through streaming who modifies my consoles, and
Mm-hmm.
I literally tell him like what I want. So all of my consoles have 2 video outputs, which is really
Mm.
cool. So like an example is like my Super Nintendo naturally has RGB, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I had him install component as well.
Mm.
So I just component from my Super Nintendo into my TV, and then RGB the mess back there for all the HDMI and captures and stuff.
Yeah. I got my own modder I go to all the time. What I use is the Retrovision cable. So like the component Retrovision cable because the multi-out actually works for my AV Famicom, SNES, and Nintendo 64, although I had to mod the 64 and the Famicom, but
Yeah.
like that all-in-one cable is really nice to have.
It's like the thick one, right? The Retrovision.
Yeah.
And it has that little switch on the side of it.
Yeah, to like control the brightness because I think the SNES is like either dimmer or too bright or something.
Mm-hmm.
There's something, but yeah, that's what I got.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, stream setups. I mean, to circle back, 13 years ago, which is where we started,
Mm-hmm.
stream setup plays a very big role because back then when I was submitting to SDA, I was also working at the same time, and the looming factor constantly in my head while I'm working is, how can I keep gaming? Like it was very few people were making money or a living off of streaming, And I say make a living loosely because I think they were just streaming whenever they felt like it. And back then, I mean, Twitch wasn't really handing out much money for streamers. Like, I always feel bad for Siglemic because he was one of the biggest Mario 64 runners on the Twitch platform. And the whole advertising part of Twitch, the whole sub revenue cut part of Twitch, there was no bits, there was no bounties or possible, sponsors or anything. I mean, he with his numbers, he literally lost millions,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right? Because of how
he's
early he
bigger than most
was.
streamers today in like
Right.
his prime.
hmm I remember that summer he did where he streamed every day for 12 hours or whatever. I mean, every stream he had like 13,000 viewers. And
It's
you play one
wild.
3-minute ad, that's hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, like no modern speedrunner you'd ever see those numbers today.
Nope.
And
And
you have to
yeah.
do like content focused speedrunning now to get anywhere close to that number. And he was just doing traditional, like, I don't think he even had a camera, maybe even not a mic.
No.
He was just playing the
No.
goddamn game.
Yeah, I mean, he had Mike, but no face cam,
Mm-hmm.
barely talked to chat, barely interacted with them. So like he didn't make much money off of sub revenue. I don't even know if he had subs back then, but there was no push towards subs.
Mm-hmm.
The entire concept of making money off the internet streaming then wasn't even a thing for the viewers either. Viewers didn't want to give any money. He had a sub button, but it was just like we were still in that era where you should be embarrassed if you give people on the internet money. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's right. That's everyone still kind of felt like that, but now it's a little different. So yeah, he lost out on millions and millions of dollars just because. Yeah,
That's
right now,
crazy.
yeah, if you're on Twitch right now and you have 10,000 viewers, and like I said, if you play a 3-minute ad, I mean, you're already looking at a couple $100 just in those 3 minutes because of how many viewers you have.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that is very wild.
But yeah, to go back to the Siglemic, nobody really had like much of a mindset of making a career. But I mean, I enjoyed speedrunning back in 2011 and 12 more than I enjoyed working, more than I enjoyed doing anything. I liked staying at home. I was an introvert. I didn't like traveling. I didn't like going to work. I didn't like the people I worked with. I had done a couple different jobs back then. I never liked any of them. I was a silk screener. I did construction. I did kitchen work. And just none of it.
Mm-hmm.
Being an introvert, man, when you go out and do those jobs, they're just not for you. It doesn't matter what you're doing, you just don't want to really be around it. So
Mm-hmm.
I was just constantly trying to figure out ways where I could keep playing video games and kind of not be a loser because I kind of was a little bit because I didn't have much money and I struggling where I wanted to live and what I was doing with work, and I always ended up using my spare time playing video games. So that was kind of a direction I was always thinking about going in.
Yeah. Me right now is like kind of similar to what you're saying. It's about where I'm at.
Yeah, it's that if I mean anyone who's passionate about video games will always hit a roadblock. I mean, I have some friends in real life who are just constantly struggling with what they want to do for work and where they want to go, but they play video games all day. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
well, that's right in front of you. There it is. If you're naturally passionate about it, the doors will just essentially open. Um, but yeah, video games right now it's such a weird situation because back when I started, it was such like a new concept with the speedrunning. Um, After I did the GDQs, I did one GDQ in 2014, and I was still kind of like people knew I had like if anyone searched for a Mario 3 record, they would find me, but I wasn't out there.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't anywhere. I did some speed runs with Karua for GDQ 2014, and then back to work back because it was like an 8-hour drive from Canada down to where it was being done, and then went back to work, and then it's like the realism hits. But no, to go back to like the intro of my speedrunning career, yeah, like I'd watch some people on Twitch. It was Justin TV before Twitch,
Mm-hmm.
and then Twitch took over, and I was mainly focusing on Mario 3 when I would or when I could, but also other games too. I went through like some competitive gaming, like I did play Xbox 360 a lot. Like speedrunning didn't make up my entire life of speedrunning once I got into it. Like I liked playing Gears of War 2. I love the Xbox 360, probably one of my favorite consoles ever. And then yeah,
Yeah, that
kind of
works
went off
out.
from there. Sorry, I just talked for like 15, 20 minutes
Right,
straight.
that's what we're here for, right? That's the point.
Yeah,
That just
yeah,
means more content. I can't argue with that.
right. Yeah, that's a good point.
But yeah, so what was when you first started like streaming speedrunning? We talked about like the setup, but what was like what did the stream kind of look like back then? How was it all set up in that way?
So it was pretty crusty. Like my output quality of Mario 3 would probably look like how it looks on a CRT. So doing my dazzle, we know that.
Mm-hmm.
There was no proper established etiquette. So how I was naturally sitting in a room hanging out is how I was on stream. So no filter. I probably swore. I definitely. I remember I got some emails after some streams about how I've said like offensive things. Like
Mm.
I didn't learn proper, etiquette because I always pictured it like if you're here on my stream, you're here to hang out with me, kind of, which is how it is now. But back then, it wasn't established yet.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, it was like people were like, "Who is this and what are they about?" Like, and they have that mindset for like 2 months. So no filter. I'd smoke cigarettes on stream. I'd just be like laid back. Lights are barely off. I had no like light setup or anything. I barely had any overlays. I didn't know how to make any of that. So it was just a very crusty, non-professional anything. None of it was professional at all. I had a weird chair. I remember I found a TV in a garbage can. I used that for like a monitor for my PC. I remember that. And yeah, again, very unfiltered, very unprofessional streaming setup.
I feel like a lot of like speedrunning streams, especially back then, were kind of similar though. Like it's usually just the one of the qualities of all time looking gameplay, and then like a camera to the side, sometimes splits, and back then it was what that like I don't even know, I don't even remember what it's called, but it was very primitive in comparison to live split.
Was it called live split back then?
No, this is something else.
It was. I remember everyone's was green. It was
Yeah, it
black with
was
the
that
green
green
numbers.
thing, and it was like the display that looked like uh like a
What? What
timer
was
at a
that?
basketball game, like the kind of counter thing. I don't know. It's
I don't know.
hard to
I know
describe.
people. I know some people had different mods for like how they used it, but I don't. Maybe it wasn't called Live Split. That
No, this is definitely a different program.
okay.
Like
Because I
that
think
was
I
before
only
live
ever
split.
used Live Split
Oh, so you
because
okay.
yeah, I used the original, very old Live Split because I was super late to streaming because of not
Okay.
having an overall good understanding of the tech side of it, and I financially, I mean, most of my money went to like cigarettes and rent,
Oh.
and I just didn't have the know-how to do all that stuff. I mean, I didn't start streaming until 2000, late 2014, 2015.
Oh wow, yeah, that's not too long ago in the grand scheme of things.
Right, that's like 7 years after I started speedrunning.
Hmm.
I couldn't get my foot in the door for such a long time.
Yeah, and live
Also, my
split definitely
commitment.
existed by then. So
Yeah, yeah, it definitely was. Yep. And Mario Maker 1 came out later, 2015 as well, and I got really big for that with my streaming. So
mm,
it was a combination of Mario 3 and Mario Maker as well.
so that worked out pretty well then. Good timing for that to come out.
It did. It did. I would have liked to get into streaming probably 2 years earlier because it would have
Hmm.
taught me a lot more etiquette. I would have maybe been able to, you know, polish off some aspects of streaming before I got bigger. But everything's a learning experience, I guess. It's all
Hmm. We're always learning. That's how it
right.
goes,
Right. I'm still
especially in
learning, man.
speedrunning. Yeah, I mean that's why I'm doing this. Helps me learn a lot faster. Get a
Well,
lot
yeah.
of
I mean,
different
I just
insights.
suggested an HDMI setup, and you're like, "Huh? I
Huh?
never even thought about that."
Yeah, because I've always assumed like, oh, I'd have to split it some other weird way because now I'm inputting it and it wouldn't work with my TV because That's the point of upscaling. You want to upscale it for your like monitor. Like when I hear RetroTink, I think, oh, it's to play on a monitor because that's what they do at like the practice rooms at GDQ. That's why they're there. I'm like, but I don't care. I want to play on a CRT, but you could just do it for the quality, I guess. Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah,
But I
it's
mean,
so
you
much.
you already have that. Oh, I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
Hmm.
Because that box you have.
The StarTech, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like yeah, it's currently plugged into its component thing because I'm splitting a component signal, and it's just going to there.
Right. Does your box plug into your PC via USB?
USB, yeah,
Is that why?
USB 3.
Okay. Okay. The most top tier upgrade you could possibly think about making is an internal capture card,
Mm.
like an AverMedia 4K or something, because then your box you could just output your HDMI right into an HDMI 4K slot, and then it's just the video is just right there, perfect.
Yeah,
Then you just split the rest into your CRT. But yeah, anyways, we already talked, we already dabbled into that so much.
yeah, I know, but
I
I mean, it's actually useful information for me because it would be
I
nice to get a better output.
Yeah, I do like the tech side of it. I struggled so much in the early days of speedrunning with tech. Again, like I said, I'm not crazy savvy. The the understanding and the tech side of like computers and the games and the streaming and stuff, it doesn't naturally come to me, so I have to
Hmm.
like force myself to get good and learn at it. And through all the years of doing all this stuff, anyone who doesn't know how to do it, I will sit down and help them because I struggled so much, and sometimes that's all somebody needs is just somebody to show them exactly what it is that they're doing. Because I used to ask people for help and they would just like blah, 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 do this, do that, blah, blah. And I'm like, slow down. I don't even know what you're telling me to do right now.
Yeah, like at least once a year, I'll either get in a call or like constantly DM someone about like some quality thing because I'm like, okay, I have this new thing. How do I set this up? What am I doing?
Right. And there's lots of people out there who learn better by being shown
Hmm.
rather than reading the manual online and like downloading the drivers and going off
Yeah,
of readmes and stuff because they're not as clear sometimes.
yeah, I'm
So,
definitely a visual learner
me
when I
too.
think of that. So yeah, I mean, it's all a complicated pain in the ass. It would be nice to just have like a, here, this is what you should do with what you have, and it's like, oh, okay. Because once you like have the instructions, I feel like, oh, then it makes sense. But it's so hard to gather that knowledge you need to know what you're doing.
No, I mean you're not wrong because half the time the booklet will explain to you how to set something up in an ideal setup. And it's
Hmm.
like, no, I'm using OBS, and it's like, well, I like 3 versions ago OBS. Oh, this thing doesn't work with 3 versions ago, but you don't know that because I mean they just I assume it, stuff like that. There's always something.
Yeah. With my capture card, I have to use Amarek because the internal capture card doesn't work on like 64-bit Windows. It only works on 32-bit OBS window thing. So
See, that's another thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like why though? It's so
Yeah,
weird.
honestly the comfort of like the comfort for you as a streamer and the overall visual pleasure of the viewer just increases overall if you go to like an internal capture card with like a retro tank, and it's going to be a costly like investment,
Hmm.
but no more Amarek, no more extra filters or weird things. You literally plug it in, and it comes in an OBS feed, and you just stretch it and make it 60. I mean, you do 480 by 640 or whatever it is, right? Because
Hmm.
it's NES most of the time, and then yeah, it just sits, comes in. I don't know. I think I had a bad experience with Amarek and a crappy computer once, so it like leaves an awful taste in my mouth.
Yeah, my laptop's pretty good. I mean, that's what I do everything from. So it's a gaming laptop, so it's got everything it needs, NVIDIA graphics card and all that. But yeah, I don't know. I've never dealt with internal capture cards. The whole thing is very confusing to me, and I'm always too scared to like mess with something, and it ruins everything I have set up working.
Right. And you're using a laptop too, so in order for you to add extra things to the laptop, don't you have to like kind of like unscrew it and like open it up? Can you even
I,
add?
I've never added anything to it.
I mean, I had a gaming laptop and I never even thought. Like when you said, "Oh yeah, I got an Nvidia capture or Nvidia graphics card," like my Nvidia graphics card is like this thick right now, like in my PC. So
No,
I assume your laptop's this thick. I'm like, what's
no,
going
it's
on?
it's pretty thin. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they've done to make this work, but it works pretty well for me. But yeah, when it comes to all the other stuff, I mean, I don't know. I've never
Yeah.
thought about putting new stuff. Like, I because it's a laptop, I only have limited USB resources, so I had to buy like an extender to have more ports that I could plug in, and then that complicates things in its own way. I don't know. It's a lot. Setups are
It is a lot.
complicated.
It is a lot.
Setups are
I've only had a lot of stress with my setups, but now it's been so long. I've been at the point where I've learned so much. I normally know how to fix almost every major thing that can go down, but aside from that, um, but that leads into like what it was like transitioning from like work into speedrunner streamer, because it took a long time to get enough donations and money from Twitch, which normally wasn't like any, there was no ad revenue, and I didn't have sub button. So all
Mm,
of the money that I made from Twitch came from donations and stuff. So I'd have to speed run my ass off at like 2 in the morning when I come home from work, because I worked restaurant,
mm.
um, and I speed run throughout the whole night. Um, Hopefully, some days generating a couple dollars in donations, maybe $5 or $10 in donations. And if you think about it legitimately, that was not a good, valuable way of using my time. I mean, if you stream for 5 hours and you make $20, I mean that's like what, $2 an
I
hour?
still wish
I
I
don't
made
know
that
that,
much in that amount of time.
but $20 a 5 hour stream,
That'd be
right?
great. Oh my god.
But in terms of a value of time, that's not a very in
Hmm.
terms of dollars, it's not a valuable way of spending my time. But the investment came out pretty good, because I eventually made like $900 over a couple months. I don't know, maybe like 5 or 6 months, to afford a low quality PC that would
Hmm.
allow me to upgrade all my quality and all, you know, graphics card and all, whatever it came with. But again, I didn't know how to set it up, so I'd have to get on a Skype call with someone. They'd have to teach me how to do all that stuff, and it just always a big nightmare. Big nightmare.
Hmm.
They're like, grab this, and I just feel like an idiot. It's embarrassing, because you think I'm all tech savvy, but I mean, I'm just a video game player. I work at a restaurant. I'm just playing games fast. I like playing games, and so they had to teach me how to pretty much. Now I build all my PCs. I know how to build them all. I know, and I've made every mistake there is. But back then it was, generate a little bit of money through speedrunning Mario 3 with donations, and then build my PC, and then my quality for speedrunning got a little bit bigger. And yeah.
Hmm. It's nice that it works out that way. When you can like invest the money you make back into it for the viewers. It's always good.
Right. It was the time that was the bad investment that I did.
Yeah, like obvious, especially back then, like there's no like real justification for it in like the grand scheme of things, but it's the passion that really just drives it to make it happen, I guess.
Right. Passion and stubbornness. I was
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
yeah, I was still living in my parents, they didn't understand what I did. They didn't care to understand. And they are from, I want to say they are from the generation, but they weren't, whether they're from the earlier generation or not. I mean, they're not morons or anything. They do understand the concept of like passion and stuff. But because it was revolved around video games, and that wasn't anything crazy big or anything, they didn't want to take part, and they didn't want to like invest in it either. So it just kind of made things a lot harder, because I'm constantly fighting with myself. Am I making the right decisions? Should I be spending all this time speedrunning when I could be focusing more on work, or more skill sets or anything like that? And yeah, it's just, man, it was such a headache in the
Hmm.
2012s to like 2015, I'd say, until I quit the restaurant job.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it sounds like you were in a not exactly the same situation I'm in, but I can like relate a lot of stuff right now to it. Like the whole job thing is confusing, and my stream's never been like big or anything, but the passion is what's like making me do it at 24/7 of my life, and it's like this probably isn't the best for me and like for money purposes, but I don't know.
Right.
It's all a headache.
It is, and it's only the only reason it's a headache is because of the job. Like you
Hmm.
have to have that job because if you don't, then yeah, I mean you can't. Not many people can afford to not have a job for like 7 months or something.
I haven't
And
had one for almost 2 years,
right,
and I can't
wait, you
afford
haven't
that.
had one?
I haven't. No.
Oh, okay, okay. So wait, are you working right now?
No, but I want to. I need to,
Right, right, right.
but I haven't
I
been.
mean, that's the way things are right now. I mean, a lot like everyone's like looking for jobs. Nobody knows where they want to work. It's because
Hmm.
everyone's time is so valuable. And yeah, no, that's really cool.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's where I am right now. So.
Yeah, the risk reward. Hey, going towards the passion is got to be the most respectable thing that a person can do. It's literally, you
Because it goes against what everyone's going to tell you in life.
exactly right. I did the complete opposite of what I even thought was right.
Hmm.
I literally just followed what I was passionate about. I always I the things I would think the most when it came, and it wasn't necessarily just speed running, right? I did aspire to become the best at something in the world, to try and show that I can prove something. I mean, I used to think like that with Mario 3. Mario 3 was my gateway into proving everyone and anyone that I can do something. Because before then, I wasn't proving anything. I was a smoker, I was jumping from job to job. I don't have crazy good education. I was kind of a class clown as I didn't really get good grades and stuff like that. And I was always good at things, but I never stuck with anything crazy. And Mario 3 was my intro to like prove to parents and prove to friends and prove to the world that, speed running and stuff that I could do something. So I always relied on that. And I've talked about this a lot in other interviews where my Mario 3 records and achievements used to define who I was. They don't anymore, but they used to, because people would ask, "Did you ever get mad or upset or jealous when Karua used to beat your records?" And I would say, "Yeah, I would get so sad and so bummed and so jealous and angry because it used to define like I needed that. I needed that so bad because if I didn't have that accomplishment, I didn't have anything." But as time went on and I kind of moved away from that, I found that it was the passion and the drive of speedrunning and gaming that defined who I was. And that's when things kind of changed for the better,
Wow.
essentially.
Are we the same person? Because God, I mean, that was me. It took a long time to like start to like not care or like realize that that's not what defines me or whatever. But yeah, like
Right.
forever. Oh my God, I used to. The mindset was just not great for a long time.
Right. No, it wasn't. It was the I can say the same thing for myself. I was thinking the right things, but the wrong way,
Hmm.
if that makes sense. Like
Yes,
it's like
exactly.
there's nothing wrong with having something define you, but you don't need those specific accomplishments to like be happy and allow it to define you. As I got older, I realized that I don't think it unless I did exactly what my parents did or something like that, I don't think whatever I did would have gave me my own self-satisfaction of what it was. It was as long as I did what I set out to do, which is what I did for Mario 3. But it was like a it was like a double-edged sword, right? Once I started to get those accomplishments in Mario 3, it kind of got to my head. It made it I wouldn't say it inflated my ego because I've never really been kind of an egotistic kind of person. It more so was, like I said, it would define who I was, and if I lost it, I was garbage. That's
Hmm.
how I would think about myself. I was like, I'm nothing now.
Hmm.
Great. And I'd
Yep.
get mad and upset. And that kind of created a bad relationship between Karua and I. I mean, lots of people talk about the Karua rivalry. And I think he might have had that thing too, where he was struggling too. And his Mario 3 accomplishments, defined who he was. And
Hmm.
yeah, it's tough. And I mean, I know we're kind of a little off topic of the speedrunning, but this really all plays a massive role in the greater scheme of like the speedrunning and everything like that.
Hmm.
It's where it all comes from.
I think this is important because I like immediately relate to it. The only like I felt exactly this, except I think where I differentiated is I've never tried to like get mad at someone else, because like deep down I know like they're not doing this to like attack me or whatever.
Of
But then
course.
I take that feeling and apply it to like being more negative to myself and
Hmm.
get myself down more, and that's just, yeah, that's not the way to go.
Right. No, it's definitely not. I would say I'd probably split it. Like when, when I say, my Mario 3 accomplishments define me, like legitimately, if I didn't have that record, I'd feel, you know, at least I have something. But like I said, if Karua would beat me, I'd always think like, "Ah, man, like, can you just leave me alone? Like, can you just give me this?" I never would verbally say that because I wouldn't take pride in an accomplishment that was given to me. I have to achieve it. If I don't achieve it again, that's when the bad thoughts come in, right? They all like pile in. So it would just push me to go more and more. But that initial thought of losing or not having it, yeah. Um, but yeah, I mean, I still like my last Mario 3 record was, last year or something like that for 100%. And I still, after since 2010 or 11, I still have two of the Mario 3 world records that I care most about, which 100% and warpless. So getting out of that mindset definitely helped my overall like confidence and like how I approach speedrunning and gaming. But again, it never derailed the passion, and that's how I know that's the right direction you want to go in. No matter how much you dislike yourself or how much other people make you feel about your accomplishments or your job or work or what's going on in your life, like at the end of the day, you'll probably just go right back to whatever you're passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
And I always find that with like speedrunning Mario 3 gaming, like, maybe that is the fallback. You know, maybe you can't find a job because the universe is telling you, bro, like all you do is play video games and that's all you like and that's all you talk about. That's where you should be. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I've never belonged to anywhere in my life except for in like a video game. So
God,
I've
we must. I'm starting to think we're the same person. More and more.
well, we probably, yeah, I mean,
I mean,
probably
I'm
come
sure a lot of
from
speedrunners like kind of feel the same way though. A lot of
maybe.
them.
Who knows? I mean, you've done 40 interviews.
Yeah.
We're twin souls.
Let's go with that. Um,
But yeah, any other, yeah, give me some more questions. They can really be anything. I mean, if you feel like we're connecting at a different level, I mean, we can go in a different direction.
I don't know. I will try to get it back on to like speedrunning timeline stuff.
That's
A little bit, but
a big timeline. I
it
mean, I've got a
is.
big resume timeline of speedrunning.
It is true. But so during this like, early to mid 2010s era, did you just like stream Mario 3 really, or were there any other projects that were kind of involved there?
So, I mean, early 2010, there was no streaming. Do you mean like in between 2010 and like 2014 or 2015?
Um, I guess anything, yeah, just like anything from there until like starting streaming, and then even like streaming till more modern era.
So yeah, there was like it was only Mario 3. I didn't even consider streaming anything else. It was
Mm,
just I just streamed Mario 3. Uh I got lucky enough that I hadn't beat Frezzy Man's any percent no wrong warp ever yet at that point. I just had the warp list.
mm,
And I remember it was like 13 or like 15 viewers or something, and I was streaming the any percent no wrong warp, and I got that record on the virtual console, so I was already hindered, and I think that helped boost me a little bit in viewership because people see that, which is so weird because I have no idea how anyone ever even knew my stream existed. Like people literally had to go on Twitch and be like, "I remember Mario 3. Let's go see if anyone plays that game." There was
mm-hmm,
no cross networking or anything. It was a very weird time, and only Mario 3. But when I wasn't streaming, I'd play all these other games with my roommate. Just play all these other games. I could have streamed them. Why
mm-hmm.
not? streaming was casual sitting in my living room anyways. But no, I just only Mario 3. Um, I do a couple Mario 3 ROM hacks. I remember I streamed SMB3 mix. I'm in Kaizo Mario Bros 3 came out in about 2015 or 2014 as well. I mean, I was doing that, but mainly just Mario 3 speedrunning and like, just sitting there smoking cigarettes. And if one person chatted, I was like, oh my god, here we go,
Hello.
someone's here, right? Yeah, it was very not like how it is today, and yeah, just Mario 3 all the way up essentially until Mario Maker came out.
Mm. How did you play ROM hacks back then?
I had the original EverDrive.
Oh, so the EverDrive was out by then.
I had
Oh
the
yeah,
original
that's
EverDrive.
very classic.
Yeah, it still works. I still use it. The
There you
N8
go.
EverDrive was a gift from someone. Like they donated it. They didn't. They donate the money for it, but
Mm-hmm.
they didn't send it. Because they wanted me to play something really really bad. I can't remember what it was. And then I got this. But my first few ROM hacks, like Kaizo Mario 3, I had to do it on emulator.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I got this until later 2015, 2016, maybe. Not sure. But
I
yeah,
honestly
this is an
didn't
old.
realize the EverDrive was out for so long.
Yeah, it's been out for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 2015. This doesn't really have a date or anything. But I think most people play on the newer one with the micro SD and
Yeah,
stuff.
that's what I've got now. I still have like an older EverDrive N8 for the NES, but when I got my Famicom, I got a Famicom EverDrive. And that was the Pro Edition, so you get like 100 save states per ROM, and it's great. So,
Yeah, yeah, you do. You know, that's the EverDrive Pro, right, with
mhm,
100 save
yeah,
states, and you select each one. Whereas the the N8 is like, oh my god, you either
just
have to
one.
create an individual file for every single one, like
Hmm.
preemptively, or yeah, you just roll with the one.
Yep, I remember. Like
Yeah,
even that, like that's so much more useful than like before EverDrives existed. But now I think about that compared to now, and I'm like, how did I use that? That's primitive now. It's,
yeah. Even well, I mean, I actually use the N8 more than the EverDrive Pro because
mm,
I don't know. I like the interface for it. You just plug it in, turn it on, it's good to go. But yeah, well, I mean, I guess it depends on what games or what styles you're playing because, not to get too crazy off topic with Mario 3, I don't know how I could, but the early hammer manipulation stuff is like the EverDrives will not help you learn and understand that at all. It just like won't. You need to like emulator. You need to like really dig deep into like different things, and that's kind of that's kind of a great understanding and idea of where speedrunning has gone from back then to where it is now, where like EverDrives won't even help you get to the top anymore. Like you have to do other digging and other methods of practice. And I mean, yeah, it's getting really dirty right now in speedrunning.
mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, having all this stuff is very cool though. I mean,
Hmm.
all it's gonna do is help people get into the hobby more, and that's what we want to see is the community grow more and more, which it has done plenty. But
Yeah. I mean, let me reiterate and say, don't get me wrong. I mean,
yeah,
when I'm talking about like dirty stuff like that, I mean like I've been speedrunning Mario 3 for like 13 or 14 years now. The game's gonna be to a point where it's like it's very easy to get in and very good, but I mean if you're gonna want a world record pace, it's like it's gonna take a lot out of you. But on
hmm
average, like an EverDrive is the exact direction you want to go. I mean, you can't lose if you got this guy, right? You
hmm
can't you'll stay on top of the practice, you'll stay on top of the trends and on top of the tricks and all that. Yeah, you won't. It'll be one of the best gaming investments I would say
hmm
that you can make.
especially the like not the Pro, like it's not terribly expensive in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, is the N8 like a lot less expensive now? Because when
I
I got the N8, it was
mm,
as expensive as what the Pro is, which is like $180 now or something, right?
yeah, I want to say it's like less than $100 now. Really, like
I would seriously go with the N8 over the Pro then.
yeah, I mean, it depends on what your needs are, obviously, but yeah, the average person starting out is just gonna need the original. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great device. Like I have an EverDrive for every console just because I'm not like a collector, so I like the conveniency of being able to just load up any game I want to play on one cartridge.
I'm
Like
also not much of a collector either. Yeah, I feel you on that.
so I've always preferred convenience over anything, and that's just very, very convenient. So
Right, and I mean the convenience logic is pretty sound because the less stressed you are about really anything, the much more effort and like mind power, brain power you can put into your gaming.
yeah, makes sense.
You get better faster, yeah.
So I remember, so I joined the whole speedrunning thing around 2017. Uh, so this would have been like a little after Mario Maker came out. So what was like getting into the more modern era of streaming for you like?
The more modern era of streaming was kind of tough because I find myself much more of a gamer than I am as an entertainer. So modern streaming is even right now is way going way more into entertainment than it is gaming, right? If you're
Mm-hmm.
gaming and not entertaining, people are more likely to go towards an entertainment aspect because I find that speedrunning is not the entertaining aspect anymore as
Mm-hmm.
it was in 2017, 2016 and 2015. And Mario Maker was a great catalyst for that because it went from Kaizo players and nobody cared who you were, but if you were impressing them with a Kaizo player, you were big in Mario Maker.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like 2015, 2016. And I remember that because you create one big level. It was all about the Panga levels, and it was all about the crazy hard Kaizo levels. And then it started to turn into like the trolls and the Kaizo traps and the Kaizo tricks. Then all of a sudden, Mario Maker turned into this like it's got to be funny now. You don't have to be good; you have to be good and funny. So for me, a transition like that was tough because I just like to play games. I like to play games. I like to be good at games. That's really all I care about. So I had to step it up and kind of learn. Even to this day, I really don't feel like I'm crazy entertaining, but I do know how to like chat and keep an audience and talk and keep them engaged and stuff like that. But for me, that was a very hard transition to
Mm-hmm.
go, and I thank Mario Maker for that because sitting on a level for 12 hours straight, not being able to beat it, you got to talk about something.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do something. You can't just
Yeah.
sit there.
Yeah, I still kind of just sit there in silence most of the time because yeah, I focus more on the gaming side of things for sure.
Right. One thing I notice, even to this day, man, yeah, I'm doing Grand Puro 3 right now. Even to this day, the more I start talking, the more I start failing.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to succeed at the game. I don't want to spend 5 hours doing a level because I feel like that influences, like I got to be good. I want to be good at something kind of thing. I still have that little part of me, right? So I once I get too deep into a conversation, I just start messing up a lot more. But Mario 3, thankfully, Mario 3, I don't have that problem. Mario 3, I have this beautiful combination of I can play as good as I have ever played and keep up crazy conversations just because I've done it so much.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thankful for Mario 3 in that aspect.
Yeah, I mean, once you've been playing it for a decade and a half, I guess you kind of know how to play the game without much thought into it.
Right? It's honestly hard to play Mario 3 without a lot of chat engagement because I'm bored.
Yeah.
I've done this game so many times. I need like I would love to just tell my chat and be like, I need you guys so much right now. I'm so bored in this game because I can
Mm-hmm.
just no brain all the levels, right? And I'm sure you know what that's like with the games you play. There's lots of places where you can just no brain it, right? It just
Mm-hmm.
done it so much.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's just funny for Mario 3 because like I ran the game and I like it's so hard to remember everything you need to do. Like s- things I still struggle with are like what items to use in what levels and like if this situation happens on the overworld, what to do. Like
Hmm.
that's like a lot to memorize and it's impressive to like just know brain that.
Well, good thing you brought that up because like even some of the top level runners, like they're definitely not used to. Like I would say probably all the top runners in Mario 3 are definitely not used to my style of being able to interact with that many people and still play, because there's not really crazy big Mario 3 runners other than me, and maybe when Pooh Bear was doing it and stuff. But I mean, I was watching Kudo the other day, and he was talking in World 6, and while he was talking, he got good RNG with the Hammer Brothers, but he wasn't paying attention because he was talking. He went right for the Star Bro instead of the Cloud Bro, and he just lost 15 seconds because he was just talking. And it
Mm-hmm.
happens to all of us. I've
Yeah,
done
I
it
mean,
before, and it's just yeah,
like Mario 3, there's so much you have to remember for the longer categories, and yeah,
right.
like
I
again,
think
I still don't even know what to do half the time.
right. I think what plays a really big role in my ability to do that is I kind of invented a lot of the strats too. And again, I mean, a humble brag coming right at everyone, but I mean, when I learned how to speedrun all the levels in 2011, and we're in 2022 and I'm still running the game. I mean, it's just literally embedded in my mind. I not only created it, but I've been reacting and redoing it for 10 years. It's just comes out like talking essentially.
Hmm. Wait till you find out it's 2023 and it's almost 2024 even.
Right. Well, I only said 2022 because I really haven't been doing Mario 3 in 2023. I kind
Mm,
of I mean, I'm not really on. I'm kind of over Mario. Like I'm pretty sure I'm at the front gates of retiring just from Mario 3. Like I'm right
mm,
there. Like it's not really much left. My accomplishments of
yeah.
I'd love to run 100% again, but my record is so down that like my motivation will come from someone beating it
Hmm. That makes sense.
rather than pushing myself to you know. And
Yeah.
I've had the warpless record in Mario 3 since 2000, early 2018. Hasn't
Mm,
been beaten yet. So I've had that one for a while.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
Mario
The
3 is
only
nuts.
thing I can think of is like just breaking the sub 50 in warpless, but that's got to be a pain in the ass.
After all this time, the fact that I haven't done it, I did one run. I was on one run that was 49 minutes and like 58 seconds going to the hands. I crossed hand one, I crossed hand two, and I got pulled in by hand three. And I've
Hmm.
never to this day been on that pace again.
Yep. Mario 3 in a nutshell right there.
Yep.
And of course, they have to troll you with the third one. Like it
Right.
can't
That
just
was
be the
the
first.
nope.
Nope, got to be the third.
It gave me maximum hope and maximum disappointment.
Hmm. Isn't third
I
hand the
got
longest hand too, technically?
no.
Oh,
It's Mar
it's
the
one.
first hand's the longest, I think, because you don't have piece speed or anything. It's like hand one, hand three, and then hand two is the shortest, I
I
think.
got it. I thought there was like a P speed strat for hand one that
There
makes it
is for
faster.
100% because you do it anyway, so you equip the star and do it. But yeah, that
It's
would
the star. Okay, I see. That makes
so
more
the
sense.
run the world record that I have now in Warpless, the 50 minutes and 10 seconds, if I got all the good components of luck, that would be a 49-minute run, but I did get one extra hammer brother,
Mm,
and one extra hammer brother is about 13, it's like 12 seconds long. So I'd have to redo the run again and not get the hammer brother. But one of the things that deters me from doing it is that I have to do early hammer manipulation.
mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go into too crazy detail on the early hammer manipulation, but the problem with the early hammer manipulation is that you're like playing a rail game. I'm like locked in prison from world 1 until I get the early hammer, because you have to do the same thing over and over and over again. You have to follow a perfect guideline to get the early hammer, and if you don't, you reset. So I don't even feel free anymore when I do it. It's kind of like Mario 1 a little bit, where you're locked, you're controlled by the frame, you're imprisoned by the frame rules.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't do anything unique outside of any of it. You're just everyone has to do the same thing to abide by those frame rules, the early hammer, and it's just doing that for 2 months to get no hands, right? I'll do it for like 3 days straight to get to the hands once, and then get pulled in, and it's just I'm
Mm-hmm.
just imprisoned by the early hammer manipulation.
Yeah, that definitely does not sound fun. So that makes
No,
sense.
yeah,
And
100%. You're a lot more free.
mm-hmm. Yeah, like the RNG doesn't play as much of a factor just because you have to do everything anyway,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Yeah.
nice.
So you don't right. You don't have to worry. You do have to worry about the Hammer Brothers moving in 100%, but you don't really have to worry about a whole lot of them moving, right? And
Mm-hmm.
warpless, if the music box moves in your way in World 2, like you don't need the music box. So for my position, I have to reset, and it's just
Mm-hmm. Yeah, get it out. Although
13 years is enough.
for 100%, you do have to worry about good old 7-7.
Right. That in a whole other thing because you have to wait like an hour before you even get there. Just
Mm-hmm.
like the hands, like Mario 3 is the weirdest, annoying speedrun. But I have to give Mario 3 credit because it's one of the speedruns out there that literally has the most replay value. It has so much RNG in it that you'll never hit your full potential,
Mm-hmm.
which is very enticing for some speedrunners, especially ones who want to make speedrunning a career. Mario 3 is a good direction, I guess, because I mean, I don't know now. I mean, I got in at I guess the right time, but I don't know now. But Mario 3 is, yeah, also very frustrating and very soul crushing. You have to have like an iron soul if you want to you want to do Mario 3 for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very big mental game.
Yeah, I'm someone that absolutely hates RNG, so it's hard to play it sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Well, you get robbed of your skill. You
Mm-hmm.
get completely robbed of your skill. You don't succeed, right? You fail 99% of the time, and I want to say 75% of those 90% fails is not your fault, which is even more soul crushing.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy. Like, especially like if you get good at like any percent no wrong warp, you only have like a 1 in 8 chance to play the game, and you have to sit through like boring auto scrollers just to get there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sucks.
That I know. And then I think to myself, why are people watching this?
Yeah, true.
I'm playing like they're not even playing. They're just sitting there like watching it. So I mean, that's where I guess the transition from like, gamer to entertainer comes into play to kind of
Hmm.
circle back to your question in the early 2000s and
Yeah.
2017, 15 and stuff. It's yeah, Mario Maker was a big step because it allowed me to put Mario 3 down for I think it would I don't think I touched Mario 3 for a full year. I think it was for all of 2017 or 2016 or something. Didn't even touch it. Mario Maker kind of died, kind of fell off. I wasn't having as much fun with it anymore. So then I went back to Mario 3 in late 2017. Karua had already beat my warpless record. My warpless record was actually already beaten by Cujo by
Hmm.
1 second. I had a 51 like 28 or something. He got a 51-27. That was during my Mario Maker, so I didn't really care. I wasn't really focused on it too much. And then Karua came back out of the shadows. He beat Cujo with a 51 like 14 or 5102 or something like that. Um, and then yeah, but late 2017 I came back to speedrunning Mario 3.
Yeah. I remember the 50. I think I was watching back, and I was like super early into me watching speedrunning, but I do remember it because I think I was like in a call with a couple other early runners. I was like, "Oh shit!" And there it was.
During my first 50 grind.
Yeah, that one.
Yep. Yeah.
That
And then
getting the
yeah,
world
I
record
could.
back after all that.
Mhm. Yeah, that was tough too because late 2017, mid 2007. Well, I started speedrunning mid 2017 because I moved near the end of 2007, or I moved near the end of summer in 2017 to the States from
Hmm.
Canada. And I also quit smoking around the same time as well. So it was like a big chaotic year for me. I was done with the Mario Maker for a while and then moved back to the speedrunning Mario 3 and then moved countries and went through that whole process.
It's a huge
And
change. Yeah, of
it was a big change and my computer broke during the move.
course it
The
did.
movers moved it. We didn't move it with me. I actually, a funny story is when I moved here, we tried to come across the land border with my computer and all my stuff, but they thought I was coming to steal American jobs and do all this bad stuff. So they turned me away. They said, no,
Okay.
you can't come in. And I was moving here. I was like, okay. I mean, so I had to go home. I had to go to actually my mom's house and drop off all my stuff so that I didn't have anything. So they didn't think anything suspicious of me. Um, so I had to mail my computer and all that stuff. I had to mail it all. And when it came here in the mail, it was I kind of like crushed a little bit, chipped and broken, and none of that worked. So I couldn't just get right back into streaming and stuff. So that was tough for the speedrunning streaming part of my life. I always have these like weird little gaps in streaming and speedrunning that I have to take. But when I came back, yeah, that was the grind you watched was me getting back on my feet with the streaming and the Mario 3 speedrunning,
Mm-hmm.
late 2017, early 2018.
Yeah. I guess that was like a good way to like overcome all the shit you just went through and then achieve this thing despite it all.
Right. I failed for 3 months speedrunning Mario 3. It took me about 3 months,
Well, I mean,
like
it's
5 hours
Mario
a day to
3.
get it back. Right, exactly. I definitely didn't give myself a good foothold to kind of get back into it.
See, we're back in the
Um,
flat screen discussion in chat.
I was back at the flat screen at the I had to use actually my wife's flat screen she had because I couldn't bring any of my stuff, so I didn't have my flat screen. So I had to play on a new one to get used to that until I switched to the CRT. And yeah, that was a nightmare. Getting adjusted to moving and getting back into it. And Karua had my record, and then a couple months while I was here, Karua had beat another one of my records, the 90% no wrong warp. He finally got the 10. What was it, 1049 or 54? What's the record? No, he got the 1044 or something. A really good one. It was a solid like 2 seconds faster than what I had, which was a pretty big blow because I had that record down to a really good time, like a 47 or something like that, 1047, which to me was like, whoa, that's how do you beat that? There's not much room, right? As you said, all auto scrollers.
Mm-hmm.
And lots was going on then, man. That
Yeah.
was a tough time.
He added the like Bowser's basement clip thing, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's crazy that he did it all the way back then.
Mm-hmm. It was there. We knew about it, but we just didn't. First of all, in my defense, I didn't do it because I didn't feel like I was contested all that much. And second of all, he said, I'm pretty sure I'm quoting him, you would have to be a moron to go for that in your run.
Mm-hmm.
And then he turns around and does it. And then he turns around and goes for it.
Classic
Also, he
Karua
said,
moment.
yeah, classic Karua. Also, I'm pretty sure he said he hated that category and he'd never run it, doesn't care about it. And then he turns around and gets this like awesome, incredible time.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thankful for it because I would never have gone for that. I knew about it. I didn't not go for it because I was like, oh, it's too hard or anything. I just didn't go for it because it's like, you spend all this time getting no hands and then you're going to go for a trick like that. And because he did it and it was like somewhat of his outro to speedrunning, he knew he was retiring. He knew it was coming. So he was going to get one last good one with any percent no wrong warp, 100% warpless.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw him do that in the 90% no wrong warp, I was like, okay, let's do it. I'll do it. No, that's good. It was a good idea.
Yeah. It's
I'm glad he
crazy
did it.
that he did that and then like the next record beat it without doing it because yeah, apparently like his RNG was really bad in that run.
Mm-hmm.
Just funny.
Did I beat it without doing it again? Or
It's
I honestly
probably
can't remember.
Zikubi. I don't know off the top of my head. Because I thought he got it right, like before you came back.
Yeah, so Jakubi got it, but he got it from me.
Oh, okay. Then maybe
So maybe
you
I
did.
did beat.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, maybe I did get. I think I did get the 1044 without it and beat him, and then
Okay.
I got the 1041 or something
With it.
with it.
Okay.
Or no, I got a 1040 like 2 or 1043 with it, and then I had to do it again.
Oh,
and
okay.
then yeah, Jakubi got the 1041 or whatever. He beat me by like 0.6 or something weird like that.
Well, that's Kudo.
Kudo's the current world
Yeah.
record holder for the 90%
Well,
wrong
for
warp.
1041, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Kudo's ahead of me by 0.9, I think, like something like that. which is a lot in that category. It's really
Mhm.
messed up to think we're in the era now where it's like frame rule or point 0.8 is now like, whoa, that how did they save so like you go and watch someone's new record when they beat someone by 2 seconds because how did they save so much time? And it's like not that much time. The runs are pretty much identical.
Mhm. Yeah, that's how it goes.
Right. But 6 or 7 years ago, when somebody beat a record or got a new time, you look at their splits and you see these fat greens of like -2 minutes, and
Mhm.
then you really like, whoa, what did they do?
Yeah. Yeah. That's I guess it depends on who you are, but it can be like either an upside or a downside depending. Like, oh, it just means the runs are really crazy, but then you don't get that like insane cut that you don't understand how happened. Sometimes the
Right.
insane cuts that you don't understand how happened were 0.2 seconds. That's just
hmm
that's crazy time.
I I honestly think from the perspective of a viewer and a watcher and someone learning, the 45-second time save to a PB or a world record is like way more gratifying. It's way more awesome. But
Hmm.
I think beating a really hard record by point 0.5 is got to be one of the most rewarding, deserving things that a runner gets when they beat something,
Hmm.
right? Because they clutched out such an insignificant small amount of time, but also the most important amount of time to take a record from a run that's really hard. But the only person who gets to feel that is the runner. So it's like a very
Hmm.
well deserved personal. It's like a personal thing, I find.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the drive for speedrunners is that personal achievement. Like
hmm
that, there's probably millions of speedrunners now that don't make anything off of speedrunning. Like all that they have to go off of is their personal gratification of doing so.
hmm
And that's always an important thing to like keep in your brain. That
Right. Like
that should always be your drive.
yeah. And I have a lot of respect for the speedrunners who they have this like full time job career and they're dedicated to it. And, it's a part of their passion. They went to school for it. And then on the sidelines, they're just busting out speedrun PBs and whatever
Mhm.
happens, they're just perfectly happy with it. It's just like, that's truly inspiring. That's cool that you have both hands in the pot and you're just happy with either or.
Mhm. Definitely.
I was
Yeah.
definitely not like that. I'm not like that at all.
Yeah, me neither. Well, I'll figure it out, but yeah. Um
Yeah, of
so
course.
yeah, so leading into again the more modern side of things. Um after Mario Maker, after like 2018 to now, like what were you doing in speedrunning terms and streaming, sphere, all that?
Mm, okay, so the 2018 till now has and was probably the best years for Mario 3, I would say. Mario 3 was when I after Kuru retired, um every time I start talking, I keep rethinking of like a better way to start this. So during Mario Maker, when I left Mario 3, during Mario Maker, Mario 3 was very dead. Didn't really have much of a driving force. It had Karua a little bit, but again, he was very part-time streamer and all that stuff. So Mario 3 was very dead. And then after I left Mario Maker and I moved and I came here, and then once I restarted the grind of the Warpless, um, a good example is like you came out of the shadows of speedrunning. You were probably watching speedrunning for maybe like half a year before you started streaming and really getting involved. And like I even know Haxer. Haxer was barely anything. And then he watched that 50 grind in 2018, pretty much the same time you came around. And then all of a sudden now he's a runner. And then all of a sudden, like a lot of people just kind of came out and just were speedrunners and streamers now. It's really, really cool. But for Mario 3, um, it was a great time. It was a fantastic time for me. I was finally comfortable. It took from 2009 till about 2018. So, however many years that was, it took me that long to be. I was finally comfortable and confident in my living arrangement. This is my work now, I guess. This is my streaming, right? I've finally hit the hook. So I put a lot of work into Mario 3. I created a Mario 3 ROM hack that got people involved in Mario 3. I'm pretty sure that's what Hackster started with. For anyone who doesn't know, the Hackster is another Mario 3 speedrunner. He got involved in 2018, and I created like a beginner hack for people to get into speedrunning Mario 3. And I created a competition. The person with the fastest time won, and it also taught people a lot about Mario 3. It was called I think it was called Frig Bro, Frig Bros or something. And I think I made a second one or an update on it. And that's where Hackster just started speedrunning, and now he's top Mario 3 runner just from coming in and watching and getting involved with that ROM hack. And I put a lot of work into more YouTube videos, and I started posting Mario 3 speedrun strats and just silly fun videos. I started to develop a lot harder and more strats in Mario 3 that were underdeveloped. The subpixel manipulation stuff started to come out of nowhere. The early hammer manipulation stuff. The I can't take credit for the items from the Hammer Brothers. That was from a viewer.
Mm.
Some viewer figured out which Hammer Brother has which item in the overworld map, no matter where they move or what they do, based on the direction they're facing, which is pretty
Wow, that was a
crazy.
viewer? That's cool.
Yeah, that was a viewer. I actually made a bet with them. I was like, I'll bet you $200 you're wrong, and they ended up being right. But I never saw them again. They never came back.
No.
They never came back ever since then. But I started to create these Mario 3 warpless seminars. They're actually still not finished. I just started creating them. It was 2018 and 2019 were very big years for Mario 3. And I think one of the contributing factors was I was comfortable and I was settling finally. The stress of what I was doing in life before then was finally gone. And creating creating the tournament ROM hack, and I was getting a lot more involved in the community as well, which I never was before, and it just helped a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was me, Mitch. I was a viewer.
That was me, Smile. I'll take the
um,
$200.
yeah, it's $200. You got to make a bet with me if you got to get that.
But
No, I'm actually I haven't announced it yet, but no, I'm creating a speedrunning tournament where I'm trying to give a lot of people opportunity. I haven't decided if I'm gonna do an overall like 6 NES games or something, but I do know the cash prize is actually gonna be pretty big because there's a lot of speedrunners out there who deserve a little bit more bread than what they're getting based on speedrunning. So um, I haven't decided if it's going to be. I know I'm going to do a Mario 3 thing, but I've been thinking about doing like an NES tournament. So it'd be like we talked about before, like a Mega Man, Contra, Mario 3, Castlevania, kind of like the Big 10 or Big 20, but it's not going to be like weird. It's going to be legit like a 3-day thing or something where it's like people have 3 days to divvy up their best times, kind of like the pace thing, but different games where people have time to shine. So yeah, don't be. Yeah, I see all you guys out there with your eyes. You get the pre-announcement because we're just
the
kind of
leak,
talking about
yeah.
the mini leak. I literally haven't written a single thing down. So
Makes sense. But yeah, to circle back to what you were saying, like all these people coming in around the same time, I think a lot of that, like my introduction was a summoning salt video. That's
Mhm.
what got me into it. Um, and I think that's the same for a lot of people. I think like that era was like the beginning of like content creation based on speedrunning, and it got it more
Mhm.
into the like YouTube and like internet sphere, and it got a lot more popular because of that kind of content, and that drew a lot of people in to try it. So
Right, Summoning Salt. I was working with Summoning Salt around that time for those any percent and warpless videos that he was doing. So yeah, you're definitely right about that. That was also a contributing factor. It's crazy. Um, Synchronizing up with some of the bigger streamers who had more of an in with streaming, like Grand Pooh Bear and stuff like that, always helped me. I was able to take what I could get from other streamers and kind of put it in my own community. And being the head of Mario 3 for so long, it was able to push so much more. Um, yeah, I'd say 2018 till about the point where I was interested in like Super Mario World Kaizos, like kind of Grand Poo World 1, and right after that was like COVID and stuff like that, was probably the best, most productive years for Mario 3, I'd say. Which
Mhm.
is weird, right? That's like year 9. It's like year 9 of my life cycle of Mario 3 where it took off. Like if you look at the graph, it's like Mario 3 from the beginning, it's like, yeah, and then like at the ninth year, it's like all of a sudden. So I don't
Yep.
know.
I feel like all of speedrunning is kind of like that too. I think it grew with like the overall thing because that's about the time like speedrunning really like I don't know exponentially grew because of all this stuff going around it. Because like for well over a decade, speedrunning was like about the same niche it was until like it really suddenly just exploded in popularity and then got more
Right.
and
I mean,
more over time.
you're not wrong. I mean, you can even see the trend in the GDQs. Like
Hmm.
every GDQ got better and better and better. But I mean, if you look at like the first GDQ, then the second GDQ is just like that, third GDQ is just like that, and then all of a sudden,
Yep.
just one, just I was like the fourth or fifth GDQ, like Summer Games Done Quick 2017. I think it was a really big one because I did the No Wrong Warp, the extremely underdeveloped, under practice. There was no like guaranteed setups. I think it was like 2016 actually.
Mm.
I can't remember. They're a mess. I can't remember which GDQ I did the no wrong. I think it was 2015 actually. One of the GDQs I did the 90% no wrong warp. And I forgot to mention when we were talking, but that was one of my biggest like scale graphs. I think I so people would watch GDQ not knowing much about any other streamers. And I mean, a good example of that, and like GDQ has never hit these numbers before, but I kid you not, when I did Kaizo Mario Bros. 3 in 2016 for GDQ, I'm pretty sure they had 200,000 viewers during that run. I'm
Good
pretty sure.
God.
I explicitly asked, and they had about. I was the highest viewed because it was Mario 3. I was the
Hmm.
highest viewed one at the entire event. It was like 217,000 viewers or something. But like GDQ does not hit those numbers anymore. Like if I
Hmm.
do a GDQ run right now for Mario 3, I might get 100 followers,
Yeah.
maybe. When I did the any percent no wrong warp, I got 15,000 followers just from that. All I did was I didn't even get it during my warpless run, which I played for 50 minutes before that. I played for about 50 minutes, Mario 3 warpless, maybe got a couple hundred followers. But when I did that wrong warp, it was like 15,000 followers all at the same time. It was the craziest thing I ever seen, but it's just not like that anymore.
No.
That's that's just because it was new, right? I mean, over time, I probably would have got that many followers just keep doing GDQs and speedrunning and stuff. But it just shows that's how many people didn't know about this niche and community.
There's so many sirens going off outside my house right now. Kind of weird.
If you think that's crazy, I mean, that was the same. That was the same year. I think it was that year for viewers, like knowing and understanding about speedrunning, because Big John got like 20,000 or something from his
Mm.
Lost Levels run. His was crazy what he got from that.
Wow.
Yeah, his was nuts. And I wasn't the biggest followed person at that event. I'm pretty sure, I think Caleb Hart or something did a Mega Man X run, or somebody did one, and they got a ridiculous amount of followers too.
Hmm. Yeah, it is definitely not like that anymore.
No,
Um,
unfortunately, not.
yeah,
I
because
wish it was.
yeah, me too. Because I did probably the coolest run I ever could have dreamed of last GDQ, and I probably didn't even get 100 followers from that.
I don't know why not, which is weird because your handle is advertised more too.
Yeah,
Like my handle wasn't advertised during that.
yeah,
Like
that's
people
true.
had
They
to,
show you it now.
right. People physically had to go find my channel to follow me. Same with Big John back then. And
Hmm.
now, yeah, your handles are so. I just don't think GDQ is the newer way of the exposure.
Hmm. Yeah, like things change so quickly in the like streaming space,
Hmm.
so I guess it makes sense. But yeah, I mean, it definitely sucks because everyone that's on GDQ is there for a reason. They're like good and deserve the support that brings them, but it's not like bringing them the support it once did. And it's not even GDQ's fault. It's just the internet. That's how it goes.
Yeah, honestly, if I was in your position, I wouldn't be ashamed of doing a big plug at the end of your run. I wouldn't. I utilize the resources they have. I mean, If GDQ wants to kick you out because you're a striving speedrunner and you're in front of 45,000 viewers and you want every single one of them to follow your stream and go check you out,
Oh, I
I'll
don't
do
think
it.
GDQ would care.
I don't think so.
Yeah, no.
But I mean,
People
hard
do that.
plug.
Hard
I mean,
plug.
like hard plug, and be like, I stream, like, just make something up. Just be like, I stream 24/7 with in the nude, man. Come check out my stream.
Okay,
I don't know.
now they might have a problem with that.
Yeah, GDQ might have a problem with that. But there's no, I mean, I don't lie, obviously, but I find that there's no shame in throwing yourself out there. Not in a desperate attempt, but in an honest, like, yeah, hey guys, just lost my job. I'm here at GDQ spending half of my life savings trying to get in front of you all, so you all see, stuff like that. Like, no shame in that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would,
as long as you mean what you're saying. Yeah.
Right. Of course.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm only saying this because we are on the topic of like how viewership and how streaming was back then at GDQ. And, I would have to do the same thing as you in front of a GDQ crowd as well. Like, it's like, I can't get it anymore either. So my next GDQ run, keep your ears out, because I might do a shameless plug at the end, right? Because I mean, that's what we have to do now. We're like competing with like TikTok and shorts and reels, the instant gratification of a 5-second video. They're ruthless out there.
I'm in GDQ again, so I'll have to try to remember to just plug the hell out of myself and see if it works.
Yeah, halfway through your run, do it like an ad.
Well, it is a race, so I don't know how that.
Oh yeah, that might be hard.
Yeah,
what is your run at GDQ this year? 2000.
That's
January.
Lost Levels Warpless. It's a race with Cosmic on the final day.
Very
so I've gotten
cool.
the final day of GDQ twice in a row, which is weird.
Oh, sick. Yeah, I'm final day as well. Let's go.
Oh, well, yeah.
I'm like second last run or something like that.
No,
I'm not saying anyone lost their job. No. Nobody. I don't know anything about. I'm just saying, if that's how it is in your life, you can say that and not feel.
He's making up a theoretical story that someone could potentially use if it was true for them.
Right. So, like, a good example from my life of what I could have done. Unfortunately, I was banned from GDQ the year I moved. But if I was at GDQ, my shameless plug could be like, hey, I just moved in with my wife. I literally just moved. I'm trying to get my feet on the ground. Come follow my channel. Come hang, stuff like that. That's what I would do.
Yeah, that makes sense. There you go.
Well, a lot of people are scared, right? I have this one friend who went in GDQ and his head was just spinning. He didn't even know. He's like, what do I say when I'm on stage? What do I do? Like, how do I do it? And it's just, just be yourself. And sometimes treating it like a business is the right thing to do.
Yeah. After my run, I put like a heartfelt message to the speedrunning community instead of promoting myself. God damn it. I ruined my opportunity.
You should have done both.
I know.
It's like,
it's true. But they were so far behind schedule. So nice? Yeah, they were so far behind schedule. I felt bad.
Right. I feel you. No, you were in the right place, right? I think a lot of people, and I've suffered from this at GDQs and stuff, is that I get really nervous. I'm a nervous person. I actually have a lot of stage fright. I used to skip school every day. I had a presentation. I remember that.
Yeah.
I'm not good with being in front of crowds or like holding the crowd. That stems from a lot of not being prepared. If I'm prepared, like, I could go in front of 1 million people and explain to them all how Mario 3 works, because I know exactly what I'm talking about. I can't embarrass myself. But in front of a crowd at like a GDQ big production stuff, I still get pretty nervous, right? So it's easy for me to be quiet during my run, right? And when you do that, you get in your own head and you get more into the game than you do into the event. And then you forget that you are in front of 50,000 people, right? That's a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a few thousand.
It's a couple. Yeah.
It is a bit ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't know if you get nervous in front of crowds.
Oh my God.
I do.
I mean, I have an anxiety disorder, so that doesn't help. Right. But I never had to like
overcome it though.
Well, yeah, part of it is I'm medicated for it now, and I was medicated before I ever had to be on like GDQ stage, because the only other GDQ I was in was summer 2020, and that was online, and it was a race, so I didn't have mic or face cam. It was just my gameplay. So
Right. I
it's
guess it's
not at
kind
all
of
the
hard.
same thing.
No, it's not, because I've done online runs. It's very hard to be nervous or have anxiety when you're in your comfort zone, right? So
Hmm.
it's
I do
tough.
remember though they like did this little mini interview when they were doing the online stuff, and there like it was pre-recorded, so the only one like no one's watching live, but like the thought of knowing this will be played back, I remember like my teeth were like chattering together. Like that was enough for
Yeah,
it. It's weird.
that
But
is.
like
Yeah, yeah.
nowadays I wouldn't be like that. But just that was like enough. So like if I had to do that without like knowing the problems I have and trying to work on all that, I don't know how it would have gone. It would have been very different.
Yeah, right. Yeah, when did you find out you had the anxiety thing?
Um uh to have like the proper like diagnosis or whatever, I started going to therapy like early last year or something. So it was around there.
Good for you. Good for you. That must have probably taken a lot of like confidence to be like, you know what? Because a lot of I feel like a lot of people don't think like that. They don't admit that there might be something wrong with them, because if there's something wrong with them, then that might be a problem. But that's it's really good to, you know,
I think it's
think
important to
about
be
that
open and
stuff.
honest
Hmm.
with that kind of stuff because I mean mental health is incredibly important. So I think
I
it's
mean, that's
important that
why I
people
take
know that.
breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I take breaks sometimes for like sometimes for streaming, even though it could be like you never know, it could be a financially bad decision or a business bad decision or anything like that. I mean, I don't know exactly from my past or anything, but when I feel like I don't feel like streaming or don't feel like playing games or don't feel like being in front of camera, I just won't,
Hmm.
because I know if I am, then it's just going to be it's not going to be a good experience for me, I don't think.
Hmm.
So you got to be open. You got to know when there's time. So yeah, it's good. It's good
Hmm.
that you know.
Yeah. It's important to know that, and it can be hard to like know that. So
And it's not off topic to speedrunning, because
no, it's
speedrunning
not.
is a very big mental mind game. I've been telling a lot of people this lately because I've been thinking about it, and a lot of people don't realize that if you are trying to get a PB in a video game speedrunning, and it takes you like 4 months to get that PB, you've literally failed for 4 months until you succeeded. But nobody really treats it like that. It's like, oh, reset, try again,
Hmm.
reset. But after the weeks go by, you start thinking to yourself, can I do this? Am I able to? I'm failing so much. You start thinking about all the mistakes you're making. You're like, why am I still making those mistakes? What's wrong with me? Like, why can't I do right? And after a few months, that really starts to get heavier and heavier. But a lot of people think it's just reset until you get it, reset until you get it. But it's not. It's
Hmm.
a lot of mental. You got to really push past a lot.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of records. Even right now, there's like some records that I went for that should have taken like maybe a month or two that took a year for like no real reason. It just did. It's like, well, that doesn't
And
help
how do
the
you
mental.
prepare for that? Right? How do you prepare for
I
that? I mean,
wasn't
there's
prepared at the
no.
time. I wasn't.
That might be why it took a year, right? If you're
Hmm.
like, if you're expecting to walk in and breeze through something, and then you realize you hit a wall, and then you don't know why that wall's there, that can be pretty nasty.
Hmm. Yep. Definitely went
That can
through
be.
that
Hmm.
multiple
Hmm.
times.
Right, and I know musicians go through an extremely similar thing.
Hmm.
So that is very interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so from I'd say from about 2018 to about 2020 was massive for Mario 3. Early hammer manipulation came out. That was brand new. Subpixel manipulations were super new. Eliminating RNG in certain places was coming out. The new route for we still call it the new route. I don't know why. It's like 6 years old, but some people still call it the new route. It's crazy. But using the P Wing and World 5 to get the music box to get rid of the Hammer Brothers RNG in World 5. That's also, that came out in between the 2018 and 2020. That eliminates a lot more RNG, allows you to get more runs further. The subpixel manipulation allows you to get 7-1. Technically, it's guaranteed every time if you do it right, if you play good. It
Hmm.
all revolves around skill. So those things were just unbelievably massive for Mario 3 from 2018 to 2020. It was big for me. It was big for the community. It was big for everyone's mental health. New runners. It was awesome. It was really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, so much happened there. Very game defined. I remember it specifically because like Salt made the Warpless video, and then after that came out, just like everything immediately outdated it because there was like, oh, now we have this manipulation that's super like documented. Now there's all these subpixel manipulations that
Right.
it's
I
like
I
crazy.
specifically remember because Salt always he works with the people.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he makes a Mario 3 video, he doesn't do it by himself. Like I wonder if people who watch him think like, oh, he's a saint, man. He does all this stuff by himself. He
Yeah,
really connects with the community to get
I
the
never
information
thought that,
right.
but
Yeah. I
I don't
know
mean I
you
don't.
didn't
Yeah,
think
I
that.
know, but I don't know what other people think. I should hope
I'm
not.
sure.
At the start, it
I'm
always says with help from.
yeah, right. He always says special thanks, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
literally everyone from that specific games community.
Mm-hmm.
But people don't read on the internet. Are you crazy?
Yeah, what am I
Um,
saying? I'm silly, of
yeah,
course.
way to go. But summoning salt, yeah, halfway through working with us on the warpless thing was when the inception and the idea and all the early hammer stuff came. And he's like, I remember him specifically being like, listen, we don't have enough time to really go into the early hammer thing. So that's why in his first warpless video, the early hammer thing has like it's like 2 minutes at the end,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep. It's like this
Yeah.
is an idea, but the idea became reality.
Well, yeah, you literally can't really get the warpless record without it.
Mm-hmm.
I think at this point it's pretty close to impossible. In an ideal world, sure, you could, but
Mm-hmm.
you have to get these weird clips and all this stuff. It's just probably not going to happen.
Just play super well and then get the luck for it where you don't need to manipulate it. And there you go. Then you can beat it.
Good luck. I'm finally at the point where anyone who beats any of my records right now is like you deserve it, and yeah, have it. I'm not saying I won't go for it. I mean, I might come back one day,
You
but
need that
you know,
motivation of someone to beat it to come back.
right.
That's a good motivator right there.
And I mean, the 100% record is just so. It's weird because out of all the speedruns I've ever done, out of all the categories and out of everything, I've always liked the any percent no wrong warp and the any percent warpless. Those were always my favorite categories. But my most impressive skilled record I have is 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And I would never have thought that. I thought it would have been the warpless of the any percent. I don't even have the any percent no wrong warp, and the warpless it'll be beaten because it's
Eventually,
not.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not the best early hammer manipulation run. It's just the best right now. You can skip a Hammer Brothers, save some time, and probably clean up little things here and there. So,
Mm-hmm. It
but I'm
is
just
crazy how
surprised
long
it's
it
100%.
stood. The Warpless one stood for
Yes,
quite a while.
still going. 2018. That when I got the record in 2018, the first 50.
Mm-hmm.
You came in. I think you. I don't know if you were watching it when I got it live, but you know about it when it happened.
I think I was live. That's why I brought it up.
Right. Okay. So I've had the warpless record since that moment.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't lost it since.
Long time. You don't see
Yes,
those
long
kind of
time.
strangleholds on like especially popular runs very frequently.
Yeah. Or that late into its life either.
Also true, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You've been around longer than most people have been around their games
Mm-hmm.
and are still on top. I mean, yeah, you rarely see that at all. It's kind of crazy.
Right. Most people have fallen off, have gone different
Plus
directions, done
ratio,
different things.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
true.
it's like I mean I am. How many speedrunners have made like a full-on career out of speedrunning? I mean, it's me and maybe like I want to say maybe like 5 or 6 others, right? Like it's who have been around for a long time, like a full-on like career. So it's hard. At the end of the day, it's kind of like I didn't have a choice either, right?
Maybe
Right. If you
not.
think about it, if I didn't play Mario 3, I kind of struggled to pay my bills. I had to hold on to it.
That's what the people want to see. and you gotta play for the people. That's how Twitch works, I guess. So makes sense.
Right? No, you're not wrong. It's like when I don't play Mario 3, I mean numbers are different, interactivity is different. It's like it's like I have to start over almost sometimes, depending on what I
Mm-hmm.
do. Right?
Yeah, it's a very like unknown thing. Like you just you can never like guarantee what it'll be, and changing things up is just gonna make it all more scrambled.
Right. And nowadays with the algorithm,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? If everyone for the past 5 years clicked on only Mario 3 stuff, I can't do anything other because then all the people who click Mario 3 are not going to get shown the other stuff because we're getting screwed over by algorithms now, which is weird. Like people don't even get a choice anymore with what they're clicking.
Mm-hmm. It's like you'll like this. There you go.
Yep.
Good luck.
Oh,
Yeah.
this person only does Mario 3, but now they're not. Well, we'll give you a Mario 3 video instead. How about that?
Here's someone that's actually doing what you want to see.
Yeah, it's very interesting with stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Um, so we talked a bit about GDQ, but we didn't like go into detail about like what events you did runs at, because there's a lot. So, uh, was the first one the 2014 one, the co-op with Kurua?
Yes, yes. GDQ 2014. I drove from like pretty much Toronto to wherever. Where was it? Virginia.
I wouldn't know back then.
Like around the Dulles area. I know that. So big
Okay.
drive with another person in the community. His name was Insult. He did Zelda 2. And went to my first GDQ. Yeah, I had the warpless run. Didn't know many people there. Have you Controller Head was there? You know Controller Head?
Yep.
Have you ever heard of him?
Of course.
Crew was there. I met Cool Kid there my first time. Cypher was there. I met Cypher for the first time. Sinister, that was the first time I met him as well. I don't think Caleb Hart was there. Who was the other Mega Man X runner that was really well known? I can't remember.
I don't know Mega Man X.
Right. TJP was there. He was an old Mario 3 runner. So you might not know much about him. I don't think Andrew G was there. I don't think so. But there's another handful of runners I'm definitely forgetting. Yeah, no, that was my first one. We did a co-op, so 2-player. Definitely underprepared because of how much Haxer and I know about how co-op works now. We just kind of played every level, very underdeveloped, but it was still really good. We tried 2-player 1 controller for 7-1, try to be fun. That was a disaster. Probably took us like 3 minutes to get 7-1 clip. It was awful, but it was a very, very fun experience.
Well, that's a good start to like a long career of being on GDQ.
So my next one was 2015. I did any percent warpless, and I'm pretty sure that's when I did the wrong warp, which ended up being really big. And then I never did the summer games for a while. So I did AGDQ, and then I wouldn't do the summer games because financially I just couldn't do both of them in 1 year. So then I would do the AGDQ again in 2015, yeah, with the Mario 3 warpless, and then I did the wrong warp with the wrong warp. And then 2016 was a really big year for me for Mario Maker or for GDQ because I did a Mario Maker team race with me, Pooh, Panga, and Carl. I also did Kaizo Mario Bros 3. I did a Mario Maker relay race. I think I was on stage for about 4 or 5 hours for that GDQ. That was probably my longest GDQ event. That was really fun. That was really good. And then after that, 2017, I wasn't going to go to GDQ, and then I decided I was going to go to GDQ way too late, so I couldn't buy a ticket. So then I went there without a ticket, and then I got caught, so I got banned for a year. So I couldn't go to SGDQ 2017. So I was banned for 1 year. Then
Naughty,
I made
naughty.
it. I know. And then I made a triumphant return for 2018. And um, did I have a run in 2018? See, this is where I get a little dicey because everything just kind of
I
blends
I
together.
know you had one in summer 2018, but
If I go
it's
to
it's because something very funny happened at that one.
oh, because of the Colbert, right?
I don't know.
Or
I don't
oh, the
know.
stomp, the
Yeah,
stomp.
that
That's
was
right.
2018. But that was summer, not winter.
Yeah, SGDQ 2018. I did the all forts race.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but that was also right after the Stephen Colbert Mario 3 thing. Yes.
Oh, all right. That was the
Yeah,
first
that was.
GDQ I was at. Was that one?
Oh yeah. Okay, so yeah, we did SMB3 all forts race with me, Pooh, and or it was just me and Pooh,
Yeah.
and he stomped my console. Yeah, yeah,
Twice.
that's right. Twice, twice. Nobody ever talks about the second time. Okay, it's very important detail. It wasn't just once, 2 times,
It's
and
true.
then yeah, and then here we have 2019 AGDQ. I did an SMB3 mix, which was a ROM hack. That was a race.
I'm in the front row for that.
Yeah, that was me, Gideon, and Jabum. We
Mm-hmm.
did the SMB3 mix. And then SGDQ of that year, I did SMB3 All Forts race again, and that was me, Pooh, Dewey, and Lasso.
I think it was Haxer and Lasso.
Oh, me, Pooh, Haxor, and Lasso. That's right. And then that same year, that's when I did my Grand Pooh World, any percent good ending. Then I did an AGDQ 2020 SMB3 100% race, and that was me, Stewie, and Haxer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Front row
think it
for
was a
that too.
four-way. Yeah, and then after that, COVID hit. So
Mm-hmm.
then I did Super Orb Bros 2021, quick one. And then SGDQ, I did Mario 300% co-op with Haxer. And then I also did an any percent no wrong warp. And then yeah. So wow.
It's a lot.
Yeah. Oh, it was so 2016 was Kaizo Mario Bros 3, Mario Maker hard level race, Mario Maker blind level race, and
Mm.
another Mario Maker blind race or something like I don't know. 2016 was my most
It was a lot.
runs done in one sitting. Yeah.
Yeah. The things I know that are like really good highlights from all of that is I know when you did that wrong warp, that was like a very like primitive setup, right? Or did you like know how to?
Yes. No. That was like a 1 in a million chance because there was no way to control the variation of the address that the
Mm.
shell was at. No way to control it. It
But
was
it
like a
worked.
1% chance, but it worked.
It
It
worked.
worked. That was crazy, man. That was a big one.
Yeah. I just remember like yeah, I have no idea. This probably won't work. 1 in a million, and then there it was, and everyone loses their mind.
Right, everyone lost their crap. And then what made that so big and popularized and what gave me a lot of you know, uh traffic on my Twitch page and stuff is that nobody knew wrong warps. Like wrong warps were still very early. Like
Mm-hmm.
wrong warps had just started to emerge in about 2014. Like credits warp, AC arbitrary code execution was nobody had heard it or seen it before. It's just became in development over the last like year. So that
Mm-hmm.
was yeah.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. They did that Mario 3 Ace thing at GDQ where they had you like play around with it.
Yep, that was 2016 as well.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah, where Mario had like Shine Spark and everything. That was
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
Uh, that Ace task is incredibly
That
amusing.
that one was really fun. You like go off the screen off the airship and you do like Shine Spark stuff and all this weird. Yeah, that was really
You
cool. I
color
was
a
not expecting that.
dinosaur.
Yeah, the dinosaur. Yeah, yeah. Taskbot was really fun back then with a lot of weird stuff that things happened. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and again, all that stuff with all that. That's why it was so popular and so crazy because it was just new. But now everyone knows about it, so it's not as sought out. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Those like that and like the Brain Age, and then there was like the Pokemon one. They're so cool.
Hmm.
It's a really unique because they're not for time. They're like, here's us breaking the entire game and making it something else. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and I mean they do crazy stuff now with like Ocarina of Time, and it's just a mess, man. There's so much stuff
They
going
did
on.
one where they like somehow programmed a live camera into it and then walked the camera through the stage. And it was like
I
playing it.
remember that. That's right.
I'll never like fully comprehend how any of that works.
I don't
That's too
know.
much.
I do remember that, and it was had like Super Nintendo quality, the camera, didn't it?
Yeah. Yep. So cool. But
Hmm.
yeah. What was funny about the 2018? I know that's like a legendary moment because, stomp. But it's funny because the run before that was a Mario 1 race. And,
Hmm.
obviously I'm like front row for that. My first GDQ, I'm going to see that.
Right.
And all the Mario 1 people like went out for like dinner after that. So I barely missed witnessing the infamous stomp moment. Very sad.
Wait, you barely. Oh, you just missed it. You missed
Mm-hmm.
it just by a
I
bit
missed.
because you went out for dinner.
Yeah.
Dang.
Unfortunate.
Dang. Did you make it to the second stop though?
Oh no, no, not at
Yeah, the first
all.
stomp. So just to talk about the stomp, I know like a lot of people like to hear about it and talk about it. One of the more frustrating things about the stomp was not the stomp. It's fine, accidents happen. I really didn't have a problem with that. It's that GDQ was like, mainly everyone was like, "Oh, just grab the warp whistles and get back there. You're fine,
Mhm.
right?" And it's like, okay, yeah, no, that's a good idea. I'll just grab the warp whistles, go back. As soon as I get back to World 4 in like 5 or 4 minutes or however long it takes, I'm like, oh, well now I don't have any clouds. I have no P wings. I have no stars. So like, not only did I have to like warp back there, but like I don't have a P wing to fly over any of the levels. I can't cloud across any levels. So like all these, I have to take all these big like time swings, fight all these Hammer Brothers now. And they were like, just continue the race, get back to World 4, and then the race will start when you get back there. And it's like, well, even when I start back there, for the rest of the run, I'm going to be hindered like another like 2 minutes on top of that.
Mhm.
It was just like there was just a lot going into that. It was it was a good opportunity to like show that speedrunners can handle certain situations. Because no, I definitely was not frustrated. It did suck because for the first few worlds, Pooh and I were taking the race very seriously. It
Mhm.
was a pretty serious race. And then the stomp happened, and then we tried to continue the race in a serious manner. But I think at that point we were just having fun and
Yeah, at
just
that
kind of
point it's just
messing around.
content. That
Yeah,
that's
it
the
was just
content.
content at that point.
What were they thinking? Putting the consoles on the floor, though?
I don't know.
Well, never again. That's for
Right,
sure.
right. They
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 can't have
definitely do not put them on the floor anymore.
a lesson learned.
Well, Pooh's pretty animated too,
Mm,
so essentially what happened is he took damage in a level where almost every runner hopes to not take damage because it's a big time loss, and he did take damage. So
mhm.
he like raised his foot and kind of stomped, like, "No, I can't believe it!" And then I had like a garbled jumble of pixels and colors on my screen.
It's
His
funny
game
that
was running just
yeah, I
fine.
know. That's what I was gonna say. Like they gave you a shitty console too, then because
Yeah,
yeah,
what is
his was
that?
fine. It was good content. It was good content.
It was payback for me getting banned. They're like, oh, he's gonna fake a badge, is he? I see how it is. That's it. His console is forever on the floor now.
Damn, they got you there.
They
But
did.
so right before that, you said that was the Stephen Colbert year. Then
Yep, literally like 2 weeks or like a week before SGDQ, they aired the Colbert thing. Yep,
yes.
and
So how
then
did that come to be?
as bad as it sounds, because I did get banned from GDQ for having a fake badge, it was set up through GDQ, and that's
Mm,
like that's one of the things where like I owe so much to GDQ for setting me up with an experience like that. And I always feel bad because the reason I got banned for GDQ was because like I did fake a badge, and obviously I didn't pay to go, and I decided to go last minute. All my friends are there and stuff like that. Really, really bad thing to do
Hmm.
after being given such a big opportunity. And I know I always feel bad for it. It's not that big of a deal when you think about it. I'm sure none of them really look back and they're
Oh
like,
yeah.
that Mitch, I can't believe he did that. At the time it was a very, big
Rules are
thing.
rules, but I don't think anyone was like pissed at you directly.
Right. I mean, I was banned for a year, and after that, I mean, I've done just as many runs
Hmm.
after that as I did before that, so nothing's changed. I try to actually use it as a good example because I know there's people who've been banned from GDQ, and they just spread all this rumor and hate
Hmm.
against GDQ about the rules and their setups and stuff like that. And I try to be an example of like, just because you got banned doesn't mean you're forever. Your runs aren't hindered.
Hmm.
You can still get accepted. You can still go and still have a good time. Um, but the Colbert thing came to be from GDQ. I just did the wrong warp the year prior,
Hmm.
right? Yeah, I did the wrong warp the year prior. And the producer of the show contacted the Games Done Quick and was like, "Hey, we want to do a thing with a game for fun." And the producer had always watched and heard about the GDQs, and they were like, "What do you think?" Like the producer was like, "What do you think is gonna would be a fantastic game that somebody could beat within like 2 to 3 minutes? What do you think?" And they said that they instantly thought of Mario 3. They didn't necessarily think of me first. They just thought, well, Mario 3 can be beaten in 3 minutes now. So, I mean, I don't know any other game that would be popular enough to be good on the show. I mean, I know
And
what
be beaten in
Strider or
that
whatever.
time. Like that's less time than Mario 1 even.
Right at that time, exactly.
Hmm.
And Mario World was like 40 seconds or 60 seconds at that point. So that's
Yeah.
kind of they made it a race, right? So they wanted it close within 3 to 4 minute time frame.
Hmm.
So yeah, they thought of Mario 3 and then they were like, oh, Mitchflowerpower. Honestly, I was under the radar a lot because I was still kind of young in my early days of like streaming and speedrunning. I was kind of a bonehead around those times. I'm surprised they got a hold of me. I don't know why or how. I never looked at my emails or my phone or anything. I was always just too absorbed in gaming and smoking, pizza.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that's how that came to be essentially.
that's cool. But what I think most people don't like talk about either is, Steven eats his hot pocket and is freaking out, but you got the wrong warp. And the cameras aren't
I
like
did.
don't care. No one's like cares, but it worked.
It's true.
It's not hard,
Honestly,
it's not easy.
right. My experience going in was like, I don't care if I lose against the hot pocket. I just want to successfully do the wrong warp, and I did, and it got way underappreciated. Like
Yeah.
nobody even knew.
The real
Um,
ones understand, but
so
yeah.
one big thing that a lot of people don't know, because I guess it's kind of like a personal thing. I mean, unless somebody asked me, I wouldn't talk about it. But I gained almost nothing from being on that show, believe it or not. I did not get an influx in followers, and my viewer numbers did not change when I went home and streamed.
Hmm.
Surprisingly, nothing came from it.
Those
I
boomers
had
don't understand.
yeah, anyone watching the Colbert Show is obviously not interested in Mario 3 streaming. Um, but I think what happened was at the end when they plugged the SGDQ marathon that I was going to be a part of, I think it drove the audience to go there,
Hmm.
which to me is still an overall good experience. Of course, I mean I don't care. It's for charity, it's for a good thing.
Hmm.
But what happened was is I filmed it. Then I spent a week with my friend Jakku. I don't know if you've heard of him or not, but I spent a week at his place because I flew to New York, and then SGDQ was happening a week later, and I was going to go with Jakku. So I flew from New York with Jakku because I brought Jakku with me to the Colbert Show. He was backstage with me and all that stuff. And we flew to his house, and then we stayed at his house for a couple days, and then we drove to SGDQ from
Hmm.
Chicago to SGDQ. Where is it? Why? Minnesota.
Minneapolis.
Yeah, Minneapolis. And then yeah, so I hadn't come home for a solid 2.5 weeks after it aired, and I'm sure you know as much as anyone. Like when you do some like the best thing for me, the best thing I could have done to retain any positive thing from an experience like that is literally go home and stream the night it aired,
Mm-hmm.
right? Be streaming while it aired, and people, I swear to you, people would have friggin' right. And I probably would have had it like thousands of viewers, but no, I was away. I couldn't do anything.
Unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah, that is how it goes.
But yeah, that's like the only time, at least I can think of, that like a speedrunner was just on a talk show or some any like form of like, I don't know, television media in that way, and just unique and a unique experience, I guess.
Yeah, the only other time I know is a gamer called Destiny was on a talk show with someone who's just grilling him about being a gamer as a career. I know Haxer knows about that interview. It
Okay.
is awful to watch. Like the whole time, like this, like Destiny is like a big Destiny is a big gamer in terms of like League of Legends and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like big streamer, and this streamer is just getting grilled by someone who doesn't understand it. Like the person grilling him is like pretty popular with their podcast talk shows, but like they just could not fathom that somebody makes money playing video games. They don't have a real job, and like they're just getting grilled. It is
I
just
think I know what you're talking. I think I've seen what you're talking about.
okay, right, yeah, and they just could not accept. I feel bad for them. My
Mm-hmm.
experience was much better than that. I
Yeah,
was
they
well
treated you very
respected.
well. Yeah.
They did. I had my own dressing room on the Colbert Show. I had my own little room.
Mm.
I actually had an assistant too, which is pretty cool. If I wanted anything, I would just tell her. Like she hovered around me the whole time. Like if I needed anything, I'd be like, "Hey, go. If you can you go grab me lunch?" She could have. Like she got a Nintendo for the thing. I mean, I had my own, but she brought one too. Yeah, it was
Mm.
overall much better experience than Destiny's. And Destiny's way bigger than I was.
Mm.
Way bigger than I was.
Yeah, it reminds me of, for some reason, there was some like talk show that was watching Simply's 120 star world record, and they were grilling him too. It's like,
I don't know what it
what are
is.
people's problem?
Right. I don't understand the perspective of like grilling gamers because it's like, do you think that they don't make money? Do you think that they're not respected, or do you think that they don't work hard? Because I don't understand like
Mm.
what's the difference between like a lumberjack? They work hard, they're respected, they make money. Video game player, they work hard, they're respected, they make money. Like I don't understand how it's not how you can't like, respect both
They're just
fields.
all boomers.
The boomers,
The
they don't get
boomers.
it.
They'll never understand. But yeah,
Right.
no, it's just funny. But yeah,
Mhm.
luckily you had the experience where they weren't pieces of shit. So there you go.
Exactly. Yeah, he
I
let me sit in his like interview chair, and
hmm
yeah, he signed my Nintendo.
That's cool. Maybe part of it was like knowing that, I think once they learn like, oh, this is for like a charity thing and it does like really well for charity, it's like, oh, okay, now it's respectable. But
Yeah.
I don't
Oh, raising money, respectable.
know. Okay, now I get it. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Get him some water. Get him water quick. Give him the high good room.
Yeah.
Uh, so last to talk about the Colbert Show. Growing up and like all the way until my adult life, I've been a nervous person. We talked about like how I have stage fright and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But I've always looked at other people who get nervous to the point where they're going to throw up. I've always been like, how do you get like that? Never been nervous in my life to the point where I'm going to throw up. And I've been nervous for a lot of things until I went to the Colbert Show. I
Mm.
was like 10 minutes before they called me down to come and start recording. Like, I must have been super pale, dehydrated, and just really, really nervous. And
Hmm.
that was the most nervous I've ever been in my life.
I mean, it makes sense. It's
I
got
know,
like all
I
the
know
factors
it's
of a scary situation.
right, right, yeah. Yawning every 2 seconds. Yeah, I have to pee every 2 seconds. Sure. Um, and I also was not at the peak of like health quality. I mean, I was still on my own, struggling, trying to find, between work and streaming. So I was very skinny because all I did was smoke, and I'd eat like once a day, and it would probably just be like a takeout pizza, and it's just like you can see if you go back and watch it, you can see in my face like how skinny and small I am compared to like how I am now, like after quitting smoking and actually taking care of myself. Yeah, my 20s was not prime taking care of myself. And yeah, you people who know me now know I was nervous because you can tell I'm not nervous right now because we're just having a good time, you know,
Mm-hmm.
doing this stuff. But you can see I'm definitely nervous. I'm hiding it quite well. If you don't know me, you probably can't tell all that much. But you go back and watch it, you definitely see how nervous I am. I
Mm-hmm.
wish I was given that opportunity now. Now that I'm a little bit older, a little bit more under control of a lot of things. I would have been probably funnier. I would have talked more and would have been giving him a hard time, but I was just nervous and stiff and not experienced all that much yet. It was a wild ride.
Yeah. But again, like incredibly unique experience that we may never really see again. I don't know.
Right.
They don't seem to they never seem to care before. They don't seem to care since.
Oh yeah, I
Unless they
can.
want to grill you for whatever fucking reason they have, but
Yeah, they want to come down and be like, "Hey, you still play Mario 3, loser? You're gonna lose to another hot pocket?" Like what? I feel like, what's going on here? No, in little side story though, I did have a interview with Kick, the streaming platform Kick, and like they are 100% on board trying to get that to happen again. So I mean,
hmm.
never know.
What do you like trying to get what to happen? What are they
A
doing?
rematch.
Oh, for like okay.
Yeah, for
Interesting.
like Colbert, like the hot pocket thing.
Okay.
Yeah, they
Interesting.
think that that would be really cool. I'm like, I don't think that'll happen, but you guys can try. But
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know what they're doing over there, but interesting.
right,
Um, um, so speaking of like interviews and stuff, you were featured. It was released at the start of the year, the documentary that came out.
running with speed,
Yeah.
yes. Hmm.
So how
Yeah,
was that?
that was good. I mean, because of COVID, though, I mean, they filmed that baby in 2018.
Yeah, it was a
It
long time ago.
was a long time ago. Yeah, yeah, much earlier. That was a good experience. I had a couple um, negative things to come from the experience. I mean, 90% of it was amazing. There was like a 10%, like they at the start, I think they were still confused on exactly how they wanted the documentary to go because they stayed here for like 3 days. They had a hotel, but they were in and out of the house, our house, for three
Hmm.
days straight, lots of hours. Um, they didn't use any of the content that Cosmic and I made,
They
right?
completely cut him. Like
Yeah,
they like interviewed him a bunch and they didn't show a lick of it. I don't know. It was really
no, they
weird.
didn't use any of it. And they led me to believe, and I, like I said, I think it's just because they didn't fully know the direction they want to go in, but they led me to believe that I was going to be some kind of main character and that a story arc would be good for the documentary.
Hmm.
And that story arc was going to be the sub 50 minutes in Warpless.
Hmm.
So for the first like year or so, I mean, I'm thinking in my head, I'm in this documentary with this story arc as a main character. This is going to be really good. It didn't even turn into that.
Mm-mm.
So like I wasted like 7 months of my time trying to get the. Well, I mean, I was going to go for the sub 49 anyways, but that thing sticking in my mind obviously plays a role, and it didn't even turn into that. It turned into like a 6 character, 2 to 3 episode series, which I'm fine with. Again, I really don't care. I just, I was the first person I think they came out and interviewed and stayed with and did all that stuff. So, like I said, I don't think they were particularly 100% sure what they want to do. I think COVID might have changed some things for them too.
Hmm.
And then I think once they got a hold of the Narcissa story, I think that's the angle that they really, really wanted to play, which I think it's.
Which interesting.
Yeah, well, I think amongst me and most, I'm not even gonna name names, but I will say that you can almost guarantee when I say most speedrunners that I know, and I know a lot, agree with me that I don't think that was the right angle that they
Oh
should have
God, no,
played.
no.
Um,
I mean,
I think
no
that's,
offense to
I
her,
think
but
that's
that was after
no, of
like
course
she
not.
was uh in some hot water for some things that I won't go into, and Like she always
Right.
talks so negative about it. It's like, why do you want to show this in a documentary that's supposed to be like positive about speedrunning?
Right.
I didn't get it. It
Neither
was a
did
big
I.
turn off. It was a big turn off.
Right. And I think there was a few things that they could have done that if they had contacted the speedrunning community and opened up and talked a little bit more, that would have played out a little bit better.
Hmm.
Number one was there was no. I have no problem with Narcissa being in there because Narcissa played an extremely big role in the history of it all.
Hmm.
Should not have put her at the end. That
Oh
was
God, no.
that was a an awful emotion that we were all feeling, and credits. Right, we all felt awful.
Yeah.
It was a weird feeling to put it at the end, and it was too long.
Oh, it was so long.
Too
Yeah.
long.
I think
It was too long.
everyone that's seen this documentary will agree with this. Like
Uh-huh.
that
Yeah.
that was
So
like
those are
the
the only
major
things.
downside to it.
Right. I think Narcissa deserved to be in there based just solely on merit of
Hmm.
the overall speedrunning experience. Probably should have put it in the midway and made it about 2 minutes.
Yes.
2
Exactly.
minutes.
That's exactly.
And and honestly brushed it off. Like realistically, they should have done in the middle, they should have done the Narcissa for 2 minutes and then the poo stomp right after, because that was the big comedic thing, big thing everyone knows, and then that would have lightened the mood for the overall end. And yeah, cutting out Cosmic, cutting out like there was like two or three other people that they cut out,
Mm,
um, and they just
yeah.
and it was a speedrunning thing too, which I felt weird. I have nothing wrong or nothing. I don't have anything bad to say about any speedrunners, but I also feel Glitch Cat's part was a little long too because he's not much of a speedrunner, which I don't have a problem with anyone's content, but I think it was supposed to be a lot more on the speedrunning overall perception. But yeah,
Well, like Kaizo Mario World is still like a big GDQ thing, and
right,
they were probably
right.
going off
So
that.
his exactly his part was absolutely perfect for how GDQ and the Kaizo stuff, how that all builds, because they did do a Kaizo section. You're actually
Hmm.
right. I did forget about the GDQ angle Kaizo section, which actually ended up playing more of a role than speedrunning. Was they banked a lot more on the GDQ and the charities and then the Narcissa stuff, and they like light. It was weird. They kind of like lightly glossed over the 4 character arc of the speedrunning, and that was it,
Hmm.
which
Yeah.
was interesting.
Yeah. It was not what I expected for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't bad. It just
No,
had
no, it
some
wasn't bad at all.
had some parts that were maybe not fantastic. I guess.
Yeah, there was another part too. Now that I'm thinking about it, I re-remember. They like finished the GDQ part of it, and then all of a sudden the GDQ is just another GDQ part. It was weird. I felt like they finished the arc of the GDQ section, and then later just like GDQ just came back out of nowhere and just finished off with more GDQ. Which again, I don't mind. It was weird the structuring of the, you
Hmm.
know.
Yeah. Like, yeah, there are positives, there are negatives. We could go on forever, but
Yeah, we could go on forever. I mean, I didn't think there was that many negatives, but forever is a long time.
we could go on for a while.
Yeah, I
But
mean, I'm definitely not uncomfortable with being honest about it. I mean, I'm in it, so
you are
I
there.
I was who's the first person? Andrew G, and then it was me, right?
uh, I don't really remember. Well, first person
Yeah,
was
you're like
Salt
I only watched
because
it once.
yeah, I watched it once. That was it. But
I only watched it once too.
and it was when it came out, so it was what 11 months ago. I don't remember. So
Right. I know Pooh's upset with his part too.
mm, yeah, Andrew G segments were really good. I thought.
Me
But yeah,
too. I
the
didn't know a lot about Andrew G. That's why I liked it so much.
I learned a lot actually. It was quite nice. Yeah. It's funny because I like talk to him quite frequently, but I don't I'm never gonna ask about his personal life. That's not my business. So, but it
Right,
is
yeah. So what's
interesting
your
to
dad
learn.
like? You know, like you're not
What's
gonna be
your
like,
dad like?
right? You're not gonna do that. Nobody does that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
But I
weird.
learned about his dad, right? You know, from watching it. It was very
Hmm.
it
It was actually
not
nice
knowing.
to like see that because I remember at one point like his dad was in like some sort of accident. He raised some money to help him out through his stream, and I remember that. And I remember the video of
Mhm.
like giving him the money to help out, and so it was cool to like see I don't know how that was in the timeline to where the documentary was filmed, but it was probably around the same time. So it was nice to see like more about how that went. I guess it was
Yeah,
just cool.
that was cool.
But yeah, yeah, that was definitely probably my favorite part. I connected a lot to Andrew G's thing because I mean I know him, so that helps very well. So I know him, and we play the same game a lot.
Yeah, yeah, I had similar slight issues with my part as like Pooh Bear did. Like they literally showed kind of only like the money aspect of Pooh Bear's life and his
mm.
part. So Pooh Bear's like, why'd they make me look like some money douchebag? Like I don't understand. Excuse my language, sorry, but like they were just like, why did they make me look like that? And then like even my part showed me like going to like that quarters like nightclub, like gaming lounge, and it's like I literally went there because they were there. I don't go to those things ever.
And then they
So
show people like, "Oh, can I have your autograph, Mitch?"
right, yeah, and I don't go there. They were like, "Hey, is there a place where we can go and film you doing like night stuff?" So we contacted the bar. It was called Quarters, and I was like, "Hey, can I get a booth and a spot to play games and people game with me? We're doing a documentary cruise." So they were like, "Yeah, sure. I mean, come and do it." But like, I don't do that stuff. You know, they should have had the stuff where like me and my wife were like playing Mario in the living room, and me and my wife were like talking about stuff. They didn't use any of that me and
Mm,
the Cosmic, him and I played games like for like 3 hours. It was great.
mm-hmm. Didn't use the look of it. Yep. Yeah, I
Yeah,
want
and
to know
catch
where
me at
these
the
clubs are.
nightclubs if you guys want your what's that?
I want to know where these clubs are. I don't have any near me. Where's all the
Yeah,
fun
Quarters is
retro
actually
gaming
really
shit, huh?
yeah, Quarters is actually pretty sick. I've only been there once, and that was for that, but it is. It's like a bar, but it's like all arcades and stuff. It's arcade bar, whatever it's called,
Barcade.
barcade.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I wish I had more of those near me. We had one finally open, but it was pathetic and they closed the doors like immediately. It was so sad.
that is a sad time.
Very sad.
So
Um
yeah, the running with speed, and then the Colbert thing, and then the GDQs definitely paved the way until now. Yeah, and then lastly, the things that I do now is like are a lot of like sponsorships and stuff with Red Bull. This is the current the now. This is as far as I've gone. I do Red Bull stuff with Pooh Bear
mm,
every now and again, and then through some sponsorships. I mean, one of the last big thing I did is I went and recorded like a cooking show in California for a sponsorship video or something like that, and
hmm.
it was I can't remember what the show was called, like Food Beast or something, but that was a very cool experience. But yeah, that's about it so far with the events that I do, and yeah,
Yeah. You do host your own stuff though, because there's been a couple of the Battle Royale Mario 3 stuff.
dude, I love the Battle Royale Mario 3s. I think they're so cool. They're more like, they're not Battle Royale, but they're kind of are, you know, it's
Yeah.
like a little bit and they're a little bit and a little not. You could go all day with that one, but I really like those things. I think they're an incredibly cool concept, and any percent no wrong more being so short. It's like, yeah, we can fit 10 games in a couple hours, cash prize, why not? And then the points tournaments.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
the points tournaments was like one of my biggest things that I did, and everyone really, I get asked more than anyone like, hey, when's the points tournaments coming back? And like, as much as I do want to do more. It's just that there's just so much work on top of already doing streaming, because it's
Mhm.
just I do all the comms and all the streams, and everyone streams at different times. And my goal is to get these tournaments done within a month.
Mhm.
Because have you ever been in any of the speed gaming tournaments and they
Oh yeah.
last like 3.5 months,
Oh
and you're
yeah.
like, man, I don't have time for three and a
I've
half
won
months.
one of them, so I was there for the entire duration. Yeah, they
Right.
take
And
a
it's
while.
just right, it's long. So like my goals for these things is like the battle royale done in a day. Get it done in a day. And then the points tournament can't last more than a month. And I know everyone's got schedules, but like work as hard as you can
Mhm.
uh get it in. But yeah, other than that, no, that's it. A couple
Yeah.
24-hour streams here and there.
Mhm.
I've only done two. First one was a bad experience because my eye got like all dried out. That was really bad. And then the second one was good. And then I've done two subathons, and that's really it for events.
Yeah, but sounds like there'll be more. I know you leaked a little something on the brain.
Yeah, that's literally like just top of the brain. I wanted to say it while I had you here because I know you play a lot of different games in your game and see what that would be like. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anything goes.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be interested. Depends on the games or whatever the format is. I mean, I don't know. It sounds like a very
You
primitive
know what?
idea.
You know
Like,
what? I appreciate that. You went to the games and the format before you went to the money. So thank you.
oh, I've never done
Thank you
anything for
very much.
money, so.
Wait, you haven't entered any of my tournaments, right? All the stuff
Oh,
that I
I've
do is
entered
for
them, but I entered knowing I wasn't going to like do well.
What
I'll,
attitude is that? I'm not gonna win. I'll join anyway. So
I don't know, fun.
you've done the points tournaments, right? You've
No,
done
I don't know Mario 3 well enough for the points stuff.
okay. What'd you enter? The battle royale?
Battle Royale, yeah.
Yeah, 80% no wrong warp. Everyone can join that one. That's
Hmm.
good. If you get no hands and somebody gets hand, you might win.
Yeah. I mean, the first one you ever did, that first like 64 player race on the first Battle Royale, I got first place.
What?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah. Huh? I remember it. I have the screenshot from race time.
You beat 60. Yeah, there was like
Hmm.
63 or something like that. Yeah, there was a
I
lot of
got first
people
place because I got no hands.
first place. Yeah, and then Zikubi came and got no hands 3 times in a
Yeah,
row.
but that first one he got one hand, so I beat him.
Yeah, yeah, yo, that's crazy. Maybe I
Mhm.
will do another one. Um,
Both times though, I like qualified the first one and then got out the second race. Both times. So
wait,
which
did you
is
did you get knocked out in the second race?
yeah, so that I've
Oh
been
my
in
god.
both of them. And both of them I got knocked out the second race, but that first one I won. And then I was like the person with the fastest time that got eliminated for the second run.
Damn.
The
Yeah,
worst way to go out.
that first one was weird because we had that weird timing issue.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
the guy who had the timing issue ended up winning. So it was like,
yeah, because with the way those like SRL had the same things, but it's like hard to be accurate to the second because you have to like hit
mhm,
a button on your keyboard and like if I think there's a way to like link it up with live split now or something. So what live split
mhm.
says, like that'd be a lot more accurate, but trying to do it in like especially SRL with like their client or whatever, like it's so hard to get it to be accurate. So when it like prize money's on the line, I understand like being a little more like concerned about how the timing is, especially when it's as close as it is, where it can be down to the second. But yeah,
Right. He
it's
made
really
up a
hard.
valid point.
Yeah, it's hard to like work with something like that because it's not going to be accurate, and when money's on the line, you want to ensure accuracy. So
Mhm.
like, I get it.
When he split, he said like the live split froze or whatever was on the race time GG or whatever. He said the timer froze and
Hmm.
then like kind of glitched a little bit. And I know a lot of people have said that like that can happen on that thing,
Yeah,
but
like it
I
can.
mean,
Like again, it's like all website based, so there could be delays. Like it depends on your internet could like not split it when you actually press the button. That's
right.
why I think like live split's the best way to go for those things because you
Mhm.
just hit the split when you're done. Like it's super easy to time a split, especially in Mario 3 because it's just when you enter the door, you know when to press it. And it's always going to be accurate then. You don't have to worry about
Right.
like
You have
any
time,
internet.
right?
You have time, you don't have to worry about internet things. Like
But and it's weird too because you can synchronize your live split with the race time GG anyway. So whenever you split, it should display that. But some people don't do,
yeah,
some people
I,
make
I
life
I mean even
harder.
I don't know how to like synchronize it that way. So like I understand like most people not being able to do that.
Oh, you should just be able to right click on live split and go to settings or something
Really? Wow. Yeah,
somewhere.
news to me. I mean I don't know. I've never had to deal with that. So
Speedrun.tv.
what? What?
I don't know. I went to settings and there's a race viewer. I'm on Speedruns Live for a race viewer, but there's also speedrun.tv, Khadgar, and
Oh, I thought you
multi-switch.
said peed run.
Oh, Speedrun TV. No.
Yeah, I was like, what the
That
fuck is that?
that could be an entirely different thing
Yeah,
somewhere
let's
else, far, far away.
in a parallel universe. But
The
yeah,
old parallel universe. Yeah, no, that's
but yeah, the tournaments have always been fun to watch. So, and a lot of people seem interested. Although I'm sure
I
it's a lot
know.
harder to like show everyone on screen when it's 64 people minus like the points tournament where it's just two people going at it.
Right. That was one of the biggest things because I would have like 4 Chrome browsers with 4 multi-twitches, so 4A12C, at least 16 people, and then I'd switch between with like just a hotkey and just go between like the 3
Hmm.
of them or 4 of them. But then there's always people who are like, "This is hard on my eyes. This hurts," and it's like I try and go pretty slow. Like I'll stay on a screen for solid 2 minutes,
Hmm.
but if something important's happened, but you also want to like after the first race you kind of want to watch the people who won the first race to see if they're going to keep winning. And that's just kind of how it goes. Like,
Hmm.
I guess the better you are, the more screen time you get in a sense. So it's hard.
Oh, it's
It's
very
hard, but
hard.
it's a lot of fun.
And I think the websites have, if you like streaming and link your account to it, it'll display you and you can like see everyone at once on like the web thing. But when that many people are in it, it's got to like crash the website or something if you try to load
Or
that.
like this, each screen is going to be like this big.
Like a
You get
couple
like,
pixels.
right.
Enhance. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, those are some big events. They get a lot of people interested. So
They do. It's hard though. It's hard though. Not a lot of people know in the back end. I'm like scouting. I did I personally contact you and ask you to join? Because if I did, I did that
yes.
probably with every single person.
Mm-hmm. You did on
Right? I
speedrun.com's messaging service, which I never look at, so
right.
I
And
was just
so I
gonna
did
join
that.
anyway, so it worked out.
That did work out, thank God. It's like I go through the whole leaderboard and I message every person individually and they're like, hey, because I don't want to do. I'm always terrified of doing an event and like 4 people show up because like
Yeah.
you go out through this big process, you do this big thing, and then like 4 runners show up. Because Mario 3, you know, I hope every Mario 3 is listening. Mario 3 is like the flakiest community ever. I never know who's running what and when. Like there's like I don't know. There's like 1 active runner right now, and then next week it'll be like 30 active runners. I can't even keep up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, you never know. But I feel like Mario 1's not like that. I feel like Mario 1 there's always like at least 20 people going hard on like sub 5 minutes, sub
It comes and
4:56.
goes. Like top level varies a lot, especially nowadays, because it's just too fucking hard. But
Yeah, there's like
yeah,
nothing to achieve anymore.
yeah,
There's no
there's always someone playing the game at least. It's just usually gonna be someone different a lot of the time
right.
because like so many people play it now. I can't even keep up anymore, and I don't even try. There's too many people,
So what's
overwhelming.
your main right now? So what are you up to?
I've been taking like a break recently, but I plan to return. There's just a lot of life stuff that's been going on, but
Life
um,
stuff, right?
yeah, the
I
worst.
assume it's like it's hard to allocate the time when you feel you should be allocating it to something else kind of thing.
And then you end up allocating none of the time to anything useful and just lay in bed all day and hate life. But
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yep.
I'd say
Dude,
like
that happens.
yeah, I'd say Lost Levels is the main right now because I want to get Warpless world record again.
Right. So I guess like once GDQ gets a little closer, you kind of
Mm-hmm.
get your ass in gear a little bit, right? Because
Yeah,
you
like I
like
just got back
the
from
way
Pace and I played it there. I had a showcase run of it there. Salt's things coming up next week. I'm playing that game there. Like I'm playing that game a lot, so I need to like make sure I'm on my game for it.
yeah, I kind of do the same thing with GDQ as well. Like I'll like if I'm in like a depressed mindset or something where I'm not streaming for a few weeks, don't really know what I want to do, kind of just not motivated and stuff. I'm thankful sometimes when I have GDQs because I'll refuse to embarrass myself in large crowds of people. I don't want to do that.
Hmm.
I don't, I get this opportunity. I'm not going to play like crap. So, at least a month or 3 weeks before like big events, like I'll kind of get my butt in gear a little bit and start, getting over a little bit of like what's going on in my mind. And I just ignore it, just going to focus on not putting on a bad show, I guess.
Hmm.
So I kind of use that like a little bit as a catalyst for speed running and stuff. Like I'm just that kind of person. I don't want to embarrass myself in front of people. So I'll never I've never really had a bad GDQ run ever. I've always
One of them was a world
had a
record.
right. The Orb Bros, yeah, was a world record, and the Grand Prix World 2 was like people say that's like some of my best runs. Um, I've never lost a race either. I've never
Mm,
lost a Mario 3 race. I've done like 5 or 6 of them.
There you go.
And yeah, and I mean, I go through phases where I want, lay in bed all day or I'm unmotivated, but I'm thankful that I have the GDQ things where, yeah, because I'm dumb, right? I'm dumb. Like, I don't want to be in front of a crowd of people. Why do I submit runs to GDQ then, right? I'm dumb. I don't know why I do it. Every time I'm nervous and I'm always such a wreck the
Yeah.
day before my run and stuff. I don't want to talk to people. I want to hide in my room until my run, right? Like, I don't know why I do it to myself.
It's a good excuse to like I use like speedrunning events as an excuse to like, well, now I have a week where I don't have to worry about anything in life. I'm just gonna go here, have fun, and I have to go here because I got a run in. So I mean, I have to go. Like that's
Right. You said you would do something, so you're gonna do it, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
You don't want to embarrass yourself. You don't want to not commit to something because then you're not trustworthy. No one's gonna invite you back and stuff. So
Exactly. So it's
they're
like,
great excuses.
yeah, I just use it as an excuse for everything, and
So,
it
have
works
you
out.
ever made that? Have you ever made that correlation? Like your passion for video games is helping you with like life problems.
I mean, yeah,
I
um,
made that connection as well. Like,
but the life problems are also stemming from my excessive video game playing. So it's
the
the
circle
circle
and
of life.
the circle continues. Yeah, that's
Yep, that's how it
yeah.
goes. That's that's where I am, somewhere in orbit there.
Hmm.
But yeah, definitely. But yeah, I mean, speedrunning events are my favorite part of speedrunning. So
Yeah, me too.
I
I
make sure,
love it.
no matter how much my bank account cries, I make sure you're gonna go broke in a few months. You gotta stop. No, GDQ, pace. Let's go to each one, please.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Are you gonna be at AGDQ?
Gotta run in. I have to.
That's right. That's so dumb. I swear to
That's
God,
fine.
I knew that. You told me it was the last day, Lost Levels race with
Hmm.
Cosmic. I knew everything but the date. I don't know
There you
why.
go.
Like, why did I? I knew it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now you know.
Yeah. Very cool.
So yep, we'll be there. Uh,
Right on. I'll be seeing you there.
yes, it's true. And I at this point I'll have to like raise money somehow because I am going to go broke at this point. But I
Yeah, you
can't
should
help
be
it.
good though. You should always consider like certain events or certain kind of like networking too and stuff like that.
Hmm.
There's always certain avenues. It's always such a like a tough thing. I mean, you already heard me say like my greatest fear is hosting an event
Hmm.
and no one shows up or a couple people show up. It's like you put all this work and effort and stuff, but
Yeah, I've definitely had that happen to me with some stuff, so I get it. Not
oh, is that why you're giving me such a hard time? For anyone watching
hard
this
time.
behind closed doors, I mean, he's giving me a hard time
What?
about not showing up. Of
Oh.
course, I'd show up.
Oh,
I'd
you
never.
mean the DM stuff? I just always worry because
Every 5 minutes, he's like, "Are you going to show up?" And I was like, "Yeah." 5 minutes
five
later, "You sure
minutes
you're going to?" I'm just kidding.
you didn't respond to me. So I
I know.
was
I'm
like, "Oh
sorry.
shit."
Oh
So,
crap! Where is he? No, luckily for anyone who doesn't know, I responded at the very latest hour of last night. So
thank God.
thank God he's probably stressing until that moment. But
Yeah,
yeah, no.
but it,
Oh, this has been a lot of fun. I really appreciate you getting involved with my background and my life and putting on a show like this. Definitely in the future, if anyone asks me about my experience on this, I'm gonna encourage them to come on the show. Yeah, this has been really fun. It's very laid back, and you're just genuinely interested in where I come from. So I really
yep,
appreciate that. Thank you.
that is the goal here. I like just like I've always watched podcasts of speedrunners that I know are on it because I just like listening to it, and so it came to me one night. I could just make that a thing, and then I have to listen. That's
Right.
what I like doing, and I can make it a thing. I can make it my
You
own thing.
make me listen to you.
Yes, you're. I'm making me listen to you right now. That makes sense.
No,
That
of
makes
course
perfect
not. But
sense. But yeah, I mean, I think we've gone over most things. Unless if there's anything I missed in our talk here, you can let me know here. Anything you want to mention that we haven't yet? I know
no,
we mainly talked about Mario 3. I don't know if there's any other speed runs we haven't gone into detail that you care enough about to talk about.
No, I mean I've done speedruns of lots of other things. Like my golden egg speedrun, or like what my high school sweetheart of speedruns will always be Metroid Prime, I guess.
Mm.
Always. That game is like woven into my soul of like the beginning of, you know, my life as a speedrunner. So can never forget my first, right? So
Yeah, there you go. Makes sense.
yeah. But other than that, no. I mean, I've done some of the speed runs. I've done some ESA runs and stuff like that, but
Mm.
nothing else really. Just
Yeah. Just
mainly Mario 3.
whatever other tournaments are out there that happen to have Mario 3, it's like, well, sign me up. There it is. Gotta
Yeah,
participate.
I'm always there to sign up. But I think it's, I was having some conversations with some other people in the past, and you know what? I think it's time to like hand it off, if you know what
Mm.
I mean. Like when you think about it, if I'm submitting Mario 3 at GDQ, like, and five other people are submitting Mario 3 at GDQ, you know, they're always going to pick me.
Mm-hmm.
Just for their own safety, security, they know what they're getting and stuff like that. But I think it's a good idea to, this might be my last GDQ. Why don't I just not submit Mario 3 anymore? I think it's other people's turns to go do Mario 3 at GDQ and give opportunity to other people,
Mm-hmm.
eventually, why not? I think it's a good thing to do. I think it helps the community. I think it helps people.
Yeah. You could always commentate it too, and
Right,
there you go.
exactly. I mean, I could,
Still be
come
there,
back.
quite
Right.
literally, right there,
I think
and
I
works
think
out.
there was a point in my life where, and I know it sounds bad, where I said to myself, I deserve to be on stage with Mario 3 more than anyone else, which is not that's not a very good way of thinking, but that does go back to when I was a little bit younger in my speedrunning days, how I pictured Mario 3 defining who I am and my accomplishments. That stems from all of that, and it was, I deserve to be here, so nobody else. I better be the one doing Mario 3. But I'm definitely not like that anymore, and I haven't been like that in a long time. So I think it's a good idea to hand it off and let other people try and submit and get Mario 3 in.
Mm-hmm. Makes
So yeah,
sense. Yeah. I mean, Mario 3 will definitely be around forever, and there will always be someone that can run it at an event. So,
that's
so
right.
God, there's so many sirens going off outside my house. I don't know what's going on out
You
there.
might need to go check it out. That could be an intro to end this and go check out and make sure everything's okay. I hope.
Now, this is a car siren now. I heard police like an hour ago. It's getting wild and wacky out there.
Is there a high
I don't know
speed
what's
chase
going
going
on.
on outside?
Who knows? I couldn't tell you. I don't go outside. I don't know what's going on out there. But yeah, so if we've gone over everything, you're happy, we can conclude here and you can self promote to your liking.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm Mitchflowerpower. I stream every day, so you just search up Mitchflowerpower and you'll find me. Heck yeah!
Gotta love
Shout
the
out,
shout out
Mitch!
command. Oh yeah,
Shout out,
if
Mitch!
there's any questions in chat, by the way, you can ask them while we are
Oh,
here.
I see top 5 speedruns of all time. I
Ooh,
just want to quickly ask top 5 speedruns that I've done, or top 5 speedruns of like that I like.
why not both?
Well, I don't really have top 5 speedruns that I've done because I would just
Mario
select
3, number
yeah,
one.
Mario 3, Mario 3. No, I actually did speedruns of this game called Chronos Before the Ashes. I ran that at ESA as well. That was a
Mm,
good game. I But in terms of like top 5 speed runs of all time, I mean, I love the Mario 64. I love the
mm-hmm,
Super Metroid, Metroid Prime. I mean, I do like Mario 3. Like, if I wasn't a Mario 3 speedrunner, I would always be watching Mario 3. It'd probably be pretty fascinating as a viewer.
mm-hmm,
And then probably like a Paper Mario 64 or something. I mean, that
mm.
that game's pretty good. And it's a pretty good speedrun. Lots of RNG, just what I like.
Just what you like. I
Just
would
what
not
I
like
need.
that.
All that
That's
RNG.
the difference. Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do RNG. It's not fun to me. I don't know.
That's where our connection is severed. The
Rip.
RNG. I I I don't like RNG, but I don't hate it.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate the repay value that it can give, but I dislike it because it's taken me so long to show my capabilities of Mario 3. It took a long time.
Yeah, I seethe and mauled at bad RNGs, so
Yeah, there you go.
yeah,
Yeah,
can't do it.
exactly. Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, no, I think that's everything.
sounds
Honestly,
like
thanks
it.
for having me.
Mhm.
I really appreciate it. And thank you everyone for watching. Everyone here, everyone on YouTube, everyone having a good time. Thank you guys all so much for having me. And yeah.
Yep. Stay tuned for future episodes. Yeah. Feel free to follow the show, follow the stream, follow the YouTube channel. The links to
Heck
everything
yeah.
are description, everything. All links to you, of course, are on stream and in description of the YouTube video as well. So that's all there for your viewing pleasure. And yeah,
Thanks everyone.
yeah. Have a good one. See you next
Woo.
week. Bye
Bye.
bye.